right, we are streaming and our channel is live. So hello everyone and welcome once again to Adventure on so many levels. We're going to we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yay!
I am Christiana Ellis and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Paul Weimer playing Xenophon.
Jellyflower wine in our tummy were reunited with flounce that's even more yummy.
Jason Banks playing Exel.
Greetings.
Lee Burdett playing Flounce.
Hello.
David Archambault playing Dianok.
Got some ideas. Maybe I can get those put together.
And Nobilis Reed playing Canthan.
Hi there.
So, it occurs to me that Paul's fancy couplet from Xenophon just kind of like everyone else has to follow that now.
I'm sorry. No. Never apologize.
It's fine.
Always
Never apologize.
No, it just made me think that like in hindsight I would have done it leaving you for last. That's all. So we are continuing our campaign of Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. And last time, 4 of the members of the Order of the Golden Prawn traveled to one of those places. It was to the land of Zinda, where they got to see a lot of the Festival of Vice, which is a Mardi Gras sort of setup. But mysterious attacks and murders were being carried out, and they eventually tracked down the culprit, who was an individual who was the daughter of a witch that helped the Princes of Coin rather, create the jelly flower, which was a very valuable crop for the land. And then rather than pay her the way they promised by making their children her apprentices, they decided to murder her instead. Her daughter wasn't a fan, ultimately, of that plan. No. And then she ended up attracting a spirit of vengeance that seems to be also actually perhaps the angry ghost of her mother. And there was a whole thing. But the party stopped the attacks for now, uncovered the conspiracy, but also decided, hey, maybe let's leave this girl here and allow her to continue trying to undermine the jellyflower trade, perhaps even to destroy it altogether. And that was where things were left, except, of course, that you all noted upon leaving that your bottles of jellyflower wine that you had bought were perhaps good investments now.
And I believe Canthan was thinking of trying to buy them all.
I wanted to buy them all from the rest of you.
Yeah, so you were given in addition to your cash payment, you were given a bag of holding with 6 bottles of jellyflower wine, jelly wine.
And I think you gave us 25 a piece. I think it was, Kevin.
I don't think it was that much.
That would probably be like, because right now it's not that hard to come by. It wouldn't cost.
No. There was 6 flasks of jelly wine in the bag.
Right. I'm just saying that each one of those is probably could be had for much less than 25 gold.
Yeah, probably more like 10 if it's really good.
Yeah. So. But in any case, though, you returned to the Radiant Citadel, this strange floating city clustered around the enormous auroral diamond here floating in the ethereal plane. And you're reunited, presumably, with your friend Flounce. Flounce, what were you getting up to while they were off on that adventure?
More like getting down to.
I think that Flounce had an unfortunate allergic reaction to something that might have been in bloom, and so she got hay fever.
Oh no.
Very,
Oh,
very
no.
literally. Very, very literally. So she was in the, what was it, the House of
Convalescence.
Convalescence for a couple of days, or while you guys were taking care of all of that. I think that she was just kind of sacked out, being miserable for a while. Like,
Yeah,
go on, have fun storming the castle without me.
Yeah, so I think that with something in the nature of an allergy, you know, they can cast lesser restoration, which removes disease, but because it seems to be that you're allergic to something that happens to be just in the air right now, it's kind of a matter of like, well, you know, there's not any sort of official authority to refer to the guidance from, but they didn't feel, the priests and clerics, their medical professionals didn't feel comfortable casting a lesser restoration on you more than once every couple of hours, which but each time only alleviated the symptoms temporarily. So they are kind of helping you out, but
at least until they can get a shipment of something to bunny safe zinc.
Yeah.
To fight it off.
Yeah, they can find find some tea that can relieve allergy symptoms.
Well, I think perhaps what you find is that what you were allergic to was a relatively rare bloom of specific flowers being cultivated nearby, and so the pollen that they give off during that particular time is not persistent over a long time. So,
So still kind of sniffly, but I'm feeling much better now.
Good. So, where have you been staying have you been staying as a group, or have you found places individually as you've been? I think let's talk a little bit about the time that you've spent on the Radiant Citadel, both before and now, having returned from your mission to Zinda.
We've actually thought about this.
Yeah, I know. That's why. Well, let's do it now.
Well, I've been thinking about this, and I think I know what Canthan does when he's not out adventuring.
What was Canthan?
Canthan originally, because Canthan has a real love of food and making food and feeding people, and he would pursue that whenever he's not off righting wrongs and setting and fighting for justice. So, but a restaurant or something like that wants a stable employee who's going to be around all the time. So what I figure is that Canthan has taken some of the money that he's gotten over this adventuring and has invested in a food cart. That he's got a place, a warehouse where he's rented a corner to keep it securely when he's not there. But when he's, on his idle time, what he does for fun is wheels that thing out and cooks things and sells it for enough to get to keep himself fed and to keep the concern going. But mostly is him getting to do what he loves.
Nice. Where do you think but going back to the GM's question? Let me ask the GM this.
Let's not move off of the food cart quite yet. But I think we'll come back to some of the other questions. But just one of the things that's definitely true about the Radiant Citadel is that it has kind of a thriving food scene generally, just because it's such a convenient hub from all of these different cultures that all have their own sort of specialty foods. And so not only can you get lots of these different kinds of foods from the different cultures, but also there's a lot of fusion food going on. And so what do you think are some of the things that you prepare at your food cart, Canthan?
Well, I've been thinking about the culture that he's from,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty heavy on the seafood side of things.
Mhm.
We had that, and he's
Spicy.
a member of the and spicy, and he's a member of the Order of the Golden Prawn. So he's probably going to keep on the prawn brand, um, and so the first thing he's trying is a deep fried shrimp egg roll, and has all these different condiments from all these different places um, on his cart for people to put on their egg rolls.
Oh, that seems good. I want one.
Yep, now it never fails. Every time I play with you, Nobilis, you make me hungry. Even if I have just had dinner, you always make me hungry.
So, as for back to the previous question of where have you been staying, there is the Palace of Exile, which offers places for like newcomers to kind of stay for a while, if or potentially longer. But there is also any like long-term residents of the Radiant Citadel have a basic income that they get, which can be used to either continue to stay at the Palace of Exile or to find, in their own place. So, what do y'all think? Would you have?
What kind of places are available for a group of 5 adventurers who have
I'm definitely thinking that we should all be roommates.
Okay.
Get like a frat house style.
Yeah.
It's a 5-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And probably like used to be something else. Like I don't know,
Used to
brewery
be a
or
restaurant.
right. Yeah. And no, it used to be a church, and we took out all the pews, and we live in the attic. And we don't take out the garbage. Yeah.
No.
So, have you all got that place together, and it's just kind of
Yeah.
So let's just decide on the map where it is, right?
Okay.
So some of the features on this overall map, there's the Court of Whispers, which is the great big building here, and then the Trade Discal, which is kind of that area it's like more of a commercial area, but there would still be like apartments above shops and that sort of thing. But then some of the rest of these are just, like referring to the big buildings. So like any of these little areas could.
Christiana, we're still seeing the map from the last session.
Well, you guys need to tell me these things so that I can fix it.
I was trying to get a word in edgewise.
Well,
Too much.
I'm going to just continue to imply that when you tell me that you should have told me. So,
Yeah. I think that Flounce's request would be that it would be close to one of these garden areas.
Okay.
Or at least with the really colorful trees, just because she is not a house bunny. So having access to outdoors is, she would appreciate that.
There's this place here, kind of. That looks like it could be an interesting.
Well, I mean, we can't see where you might be pointing your cursor.
Oh, it's go up. About you see my.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a nice section of trees. There's some buildings.
Mm-hmm.
it's not that far from the trade group.
Yeah,
It is as far as you can get from the Passage of Respite where you get on the Concord Gems, but that's okay.
that's just more opportunity to talk to people.
Yeah.
That's not.
Well,
that's
it's a quieter part of the neighborhood, of the city. It's a quieter neighborhood.
Actually,
And-
being near the edge of
Pause
the
for that.
edge of the Citadel, probably actually it's a great view of the Concord Gems as they
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Go
like
with
this house right here.
yeah.
That I'm playing on. I think that's our house. That one right there.
Okay.
Cool.
The Lodge of the Golden Prawn.
Sounds fishy, but it's true.
Well, so that actually just raises the question where I think before we go too far down that one of the things that you upon returning from your adventure in Zinda, you are contacted once again by Ariat, who is the head of the Shield Bearers, and so he puts to you in a letter that he would be interested in meeting with you again, but the primary question here is that you essentially have two options. One is that if as a group you would like to be formally inducted into the Shield Bearers, there's some authority and certain privileges that come with that, but also there's some responsibility. You know, you have to follow their specific orders. You're expected to maintain a code of conduct. You would not be accepting pay from the people you help in the various lands, but you would get paid by the Shield Bearers instead.
Okay.
Which just means that, you know, so some of these sorts of things, like if you are given a reward by someone you help, that's, you know, you would have to like report it to the Shield Bearers, and potentially some fraction of that needs to go back to, like, you know, supporting the Shield Bearers. Now, the Radiant Citadel and the Shield Bearers proper are paid for by tariffs on all the trade that goes through here, so that's not like their primary means of support, but it's also the sort of thing that, like, if they're paying for an organization to go out and help people, you're not really supposed to be soliciting kickbacks from the payment there.
That would cause some conflicts of interest.
Yeah. So you can do that, or it is also an option, and he makes it clear that this is not like this is just, it's a decision for you to make. It's not a lesser option, but you can choose to remain freelancers the way you have been so far, which is that you can kind of take up jobs. Like, you hear about someone who needs help, and then you go out, and there's no like there's no salary, right? But you're also kind of, you know, you don't come with official authority, but you're also able to kind of just wing things as you see fit. Whereas, you know, there's a little bit more expectation and authority and responsibility that would come with being officially a member of the Shield Bearers. And so he's basically asking if, as a group, the Order of the Golden Prawn would like to continue to be freelancers the way you have been, or if you would like to be formally inducted.
Would I have the time to continue to operate my food cart if we became members of the Spiel Bearers?
I think that it might be something you would have to juggle a little bit more, right? Like, there, you know, Shield Bearers do have free time, but it would be kind of like, you know, you'd have to be kind of using all your free time on that to really kind of keep it going. You know what I mean? Or as much as you wanted, but I guess it would be the sort of thing where, like, you have it in storage, and then when you have a moment, you bring it out, and you can be more perhaps like a hobby.
Yeah, like a weekend thing, not every day. Yeah, okay, I think I can handle that. Yeah. So I would tend towards accepting the badge.
Yeah, I don't think Dianok really is that interested in being part of the Shield Bearers. You know, getting jobs, you know, as freelancers is, you know, no problem, but not so much you know, official parts of them.
I think you're muted, Paul.
I am muted. Thank you. So just playing counter. So we have one yes and one no so far.
Sounds like it.
Okay. I will go last. Because I'm counting. And also still thinking.
I think Flounce is of two minds about it. I mean, she wouldn't mind, but if her feet lead her off into another direction, then, you know, she doesn't want to leave. I mean, she followed her feet here. she might follow her feet off someday. And so having kind
Well, I
of
mean,
that official tie down, it,
Now,
she's
like
not a big fan of that.
the shield bearers is not the sort of place that will arrest you for being AWOL if you decide you don't want to be one anymore, right? It's not like that. However,
Yeah.
there is kind of an expectation of commitment. Like, don't sign on if you're not planning to stick around for a while. You
Okay.
know, but it's not like, you know, you're not going to be arrested if you decide to leave or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, she'll give it a shot for a while. She'll give him a trial run. Um, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, so she's coming down on Kenthan's side of a
Okay.
yes.
What type of benefits outside of like the job itself have? Like, is there like, what is there a certain pay or a certain like,
Yeah.
is there access to like a larger library of things, say like if you were going to look into researching something?
Yeah, so that is exactly the sort of thing. So, like, the Palace of Exile has a specific wing that is like official quarters of the shield bearers, and it's not required that you live there, but it's provided as part of your employment there. So you can stay there without any additional like cost or rent or anything like that. Then and there's access to like training facilities and you know some resource like library type resources. You have you know the ability to say as a member of the shield bearers you know if you want access to some other type of official resource you can usually get it because you're officially vouched for, right? And then you also are equipped, which doesn't necessarily mean you get a whole bunch of free magic weapons or anything, but certainly any sort of ordinary things that you might need can be requisitioned and that sort of thing. And there is, like I said, there's a salary which they say, you know, they can't promise that it will be equivalent to what a freelance party of adventurers might be able to squeeze out of a given mission, but they try to make sure that they keep people happy because otherwise they're going to be looking for stuff on the side, and what they want is for you to not do that.
Um, for Excel, the idea of having more access and information, especially when it comes to, um, training facilities, that library, and learning more about the places that we have to travel and go to, actually interests him a lot. Because as a freelancer, you don't have access to that wealth of knowledge. So he's leaning more onto the side of at least temporarily being a part of the Shield Bears.
Okay. Well, it sounds like at least right now there's potentially 3 yeses, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
is,
So
But-
Xenophon is I mean, it's a fait accompli either way.
well,
Xenophon is
so let me be clear here. I think what the shield bearers are going to say is it's not like you have to decide as a group yes or no. Like they don't really probably want anyone who's kind of like so what I'm saying is they're suggesting that you come to consensus as opposed to dragging in people who don't want to be there.
I see.
Right. So
mean-
what I would say is it is up to the 5 of you to decide how you want to do that. But basically what they're saying is since the 5 of you are already a group, they can respect the chemistry there and everything, but it's not like they're saying all of you or none of you. It's more like putting it all to you as a group that you're all invited. You don't have to all say yes or no, but it's also kind of it's obviously more awkward if you don't all do it. But I guess what I'm just saying is I'm not the one saying that it's a simple vote. I think it's up to you guys to decide how to handle that.
I mean,
Yeah, but we're kind of working through this by
Sure.
discussing our points of view.
I mean,
Xenophon is
personally, I like the idea of being able to go in and say, I'm a shield bearer. And these are people who've been heard of not only in the Radiant Citadel, but in all the places where the Radiant Citadel touches.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to command a certain amount of respect and a certain amount of leeway in investigating the kinds of things we investigate.
Yeah,
So
it
it
definitely
would,
would have. It definitely could have played a bigger role in helping us get more information out of people, especially with the last thing we
mhm.
investigated.
Yes. I
So
mean,
and not, yeah,
we have to follow their strictures and their rules and their guidelines more. We can't be quite too freewheeling, but it does. The badge has power.
mhm.
I mean, Xenophon, like Francis, kind of like wandered into the Radiant Citadel because he was told he might like it and came here. So I don't see Xenophon staying here for the rest of his life. I mean, but a short, medium term, basically contract to work as a shield bearer. Sure, that could be part of his story. I mean, he'll go get interesting stories and be part of interesting stories. So Xenophon's willing to give this a go for a while. I mean, and if he doesn't like it, eventually he will move on to somewhere else and get more stories from other people elsewhere. So he's voting yes for now.
So,
Well, I guess if everybody else doing it, if at least a temporary, temporary, I contract, I guess DNOC will go for it because there is access to information and
mhm.
such that is helpful.
I mean, I get yeah. I mean, I also get Dianok. Dianok has a mission to return to find his way home, however he can. So that's important to Dianok.
Yeah.
Or well, find their way home and find out what the deal is with their home sometime. I,
Yeah, yes.
yeah,
It's like so. Yeah. So I mean, you have that hanging over your head.
Mhm.
So it's important. I know which way. I know where the path to limbo. You don't know the path to home. Your home.
All right. So,
okay.
you reply to Ariat that you are interested in joining.
Yes.
All
Yep.
right. So he gets in touch with you back to let you know that. Um, well, first he has you go ahead and report um, to him at the Palace of Exile, where their headquarters is, and uh, so I'm glad to hear that you'll be joining. I think we'll have all of the official paperwork to go through here. But I guess first and foremost, I know that you had established residence here in the Citadel already. Were you interested in having the quarters here at the Palace of Exile? Those are, of course, provided free of charge, but it's not mandatory that you live there, but we're not going to reimburse you for rent that you pay elsewhere.
I would rather keep our current
I
residence.
got a great view.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is absolutely your prerogative. So, uh, on that basis, I'm going to just. I think that. Well, here's. I guess this is a question I can put to all of you. I was going to kind of say let's perhaps elide the specifics of like this is your salary. It is this many gold pieces
Yeah.
per mission or whatever, right? Like I think that like all of that would be established, but I think that what makes more sense is that we can kind of say that from the perspective of lifestyle um,
Right.
things, you are um, your lifestyle is paid for, and the any additional things would be coming from like whatever you get on missions and that sort of thing. That's where you would kind of like when you come back and you make your report and that sort of thing. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So I think we can deal with that in the details however we like whenever we want, but rather than try to specify a number right now, I think uh, that's it'll be easier to kind of keep that in the background, I think.
Mm-hmm.
um, so on that basis then he says we'll have an induction ceremony. I think tomorrow night would be ideal. We're going to present you with we have quartermaster has got a variety of uniform pieces that will allow you to reflect the shield bearers without necessarily interfering with whatever armor you prefer to use. So I would suggest you check in there and then wear whatever you have. Probably try to look nice for the ceremony that will be held at the Preserve of the Ancestors with the full attendance of the speakers for the ancestors. And you never know, sometimes the Dawn Incarnates watch too.
Well then, that's
Dawn
Be honored.
Incarnates. Can you remind me what?
Sure, that is the various spirits that manifest as like
Ah,
gemstones that assemble into
Okay.
kind of like the shape of a tiger or whatever the animal is for that particular land. And there
Okay.
is one for each of the connected lands to the Radiant Citadel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe keep an eye out for anything that looks particularly familiar to DNR.
Well, certainly the 15 that are present and known in the Preserve of the Ancestors are the ones to the known connected lands. However, there is also a dead one that people aren't really sure where that would have been from, and they know that there used to be more connected lands, and those do not seem to be represented, and so that is an ongoing kind of mystery of, you know, uh, apparently the whatever connection caused the Concord gems to stop appearing from those places resulted in the Dawn Incarnates not showing up anymore either.
Okay.
So, given that you are going to keep your house there, I kind of suggested the Lodge of the Golden Prawn, but certainly you can call it what
I
you
like
like.
that name.
Fine with me. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's first talk about the ceremony a little bit. So you're shown to the quartermaster's uniform shop, and what I would invite you, this is a group world building thing here, is
Mhm.
what do we think the shield bearers uniforms look like generally? And also, as I suggested, this is not something that necessarily everyone's wearing the same uniform, the same armor. Like, that's not what it is, because you have people with all different skills. You know, wizard's not going to wear the same thing as a fighter, etc. So, but there should be some theme in common, right? There's various pieces designed to sort of fit with whatever your existing look is. So let's come up with kind of what that theme is. What is the common element that's going to be true for everybody, and how does that get implemented into your own style?
I think a bold color scheme would be one of the first things that would be in common.
And my thought, what pops to my mind right away is like a shoulder pauldron, and it might be cloth for someone who doesn't wear metal armor, or just like something that can't be overlaid on the
On the metal,
existing
yeah.
armor.
Something with like a shield theme to it, as far as the design on that
Well,
pauldron.
what I'm thinking is that looking at the kind of the really big architecture of the Citadel,
Mm-hmm.
the Court of Whispers, the House of Convalescence, the Palace of Exile. There's lots of domes
Yeah.
here on the really big.
Well,
so
even
I'm
the
thinking,
Preserve of the Ancestors inside the diamond is dome-like as well. It just has the rest of the
Yeah.
diamond on top of it.
So I'm thinking like the iconic shield for the shield bearers, not necessarily the shield that all of them carry, but the iconic shield is the target shield. And with possibly a number of spokes like on it, according to the number of gems.
It would be 15, 15 known
so-
ones currently.
So 15, a circle of 15 parts, all kind of coming together, would be an iconic theme for that. But yeah, I don't think that something small would be ideal. You want to be able to recognize a shield bearer from a distance.
Well, so generally
So-
what I think is you are each given like a badge, so to speak, like something that you
Yeah.
can show kind of a token that that is, if you were ever not in uniform, you could still show this thing, right?
Right.
But that in addition, when you are in uniform, it would be, like you said, something that could be seen from a ways away. You don't have to get in close and squint at a patch or an emblem or something.
Right. Right.
Yeah, maybe the shield, the badge that you get is like the kite shield shape with an with an artist rendition of the oral diamond splitting it down from right to left,
Mm-hmm.
to signify that you're from the Radiant Citadel, the shield bearers. I don't know what maybe it is a specific color scheme.
Well, one of the things that I think could be kind of neat is that as far as a color scheme, it could be that you have kind of a representation of the diamond floating in the ethereal mist. So you have maybe like a backdrop of silver with kind of the diamond in profile streak along it that glows some other color. And we could even have it be magical where it glows whatever color the auroral diamond is currently glowing.
Oh,
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how about that the like the color scheme also like recognizes which of the realms the individual is from?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the auroral diamond, which is in common, and its color shifts,
Mm-hmm.
but then like the circular background that it's on is of whatever color.
Maybe
your-
like a small gemstone of each of the types around the circumference or something.
No, or even just
Yeah, or-
the outline is a specific color that corresponds to the gem the thingy that takes you from place to place.
Well, the
Corresponds to
Concord
the
Gem.
gem.
Concord
Concord
Gem.
Gem.
But what I was thinking is that because the shield bearers are meant to represent the Citadel itself, which includes all of these connections, but it should represent all of the connections, right? So I don't think it
Right.
would want to highlight any of them, even if it changed. I think the implication should be
Per,
all of them.
perhaps it's designed to highlight the like it's got the the spots out for each of the gems,
Mhm.
and it will highlight whichever place you're at currently.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. Like, I think that you're not going to usually not know where you're at, but yeah, I suppose that's that like it could certainly there could be a little bit of like a glow for the one that you're currently visiting, just to sort of reflect that the attention of the diamond is there at the moment.
And maybe as far as uniforms go, everybody gets a cloak.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets a cloak with that symbol, not magical, but an applique on the back.
Yeah, well, see, what I was thinking is that, like, for some people, a cloak might make sense. For some people, like David suggested, like a shoulder pauldron or something like that. Something that's going to be striking and visible, but without requiring a specific aesthetic, so to speak.
Yeah. I just like the like a rainbow wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so every place has its own little piece of the pie, and it's like a rainbow going all the way around with the auroral diamond slashing through the center. But that's just me.
Or even like you have the circle, and it would be like wedges of pie that for each color, but then in the circle, like a smaller circle that's the silver, and then the auroral diamond through that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, I like the idea that it would either glow or it would show the color,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I wish they had like an official like symbol for the shield bearers.
Well, we're kind of
Well,
coming up with that.
yeah,
Coming
that's
up
what
with
we're
it.
doing. Yeah.
That's what we're kind of designing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think, in any case, yeah, you're. Let's. So each of you, so now that we've kind of said this is what the logo looks like, what do each of you sort of choose as like the representation of the shield bearers for what you wear? Like, so how, when someone looks at you, how are they going to know that you're in the shield bearers? What did you select for each of you?
Kenthan has a tabard that goes over his armor.
Okay, good.
And Dianark will go with basically a cloth pauldron.
Okay,
type.
nice.
Xenophon's gonna go for a cape, a cloak.
Nice.
No capes.
Well, so does it have the hood or no?
No, it does not have a hood.
Well, then it is a cape, right?
Yeah. Okay, it has a hood
Just don't fly. Just don't fly.
Like Edna mode is not in this game. Capes are allowed.
And there are no jet engines. Hopefully.
Thank God.
You never know about those Concord gems, man.
Well, you do roll natural ones sometimes. So
and we did in one campaign come across space guns. So I mean, the likelihood of a jet engine is possible.
No.
Non-zero.
well,
yeah.
so okay, but yeah, so
A cloak is practical in cold areas. So even though most of the areas we've been to have been relatively warm, that may not be always true. So a cloak is more practical than a cape.
All right. Well, how about this? It's a cloak with a hood that can kind of fold in invisibly, so it doesn't. You can unfold it and put it up if you want it, but otherwise it doesn't look like.
I will take that. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, and Exo actually will take a cloak as well. Just because he likes it. It's versatile.
All right. What about Flounce?
Flounce is definitely going cape.
All right.
Or rather, well, she would do cloak, but her ears.
Yeah.
So she has to do cape.
Well, I think they could probably tailor the cloak. Well, so here's a question, because you could certainly tailor the cloak so that there are holes for the ears to go through, but then the ears get wet. If the whole point is that it's raining or whatever, I would imagine if bunny ears, like bunnies can fold their ears back, right? Like but
yeah.
But the question is, which is more comfortable, folded back ears or wet ears?
Yeah, definitely going for the hood with the cloak.
Well, and it can also be where, like, if you're just keeping,
or
it's got holes that can be buttoned.
What if it had little ear sleeves?
Yeah, and because a cloak would
Oh
help.
my
A cloak would help you keep the fluff dry.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes a wet bunny.
Yeah, so they could they
Yes.
could tailor little ear sleeves in the hood of the cloak.
Is Exel jealous?
No.
Or is he going, me too?
Yeah, actually, Excel's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yes, that looks actually quite that's quite expeditious of you with this. Like, so he wants ear sleeves too.
Yeah, I think the quartermaster is just like, well, we supply uniforms to all manner of different species and races here, and we want everyone to be both comfortable and looking well.
Yes, and you know what? To be honest, we've only come across dry, arid areas recently.
We're due for a rainstorm.
Yeah, we're due for a wet. We're due
for the muck.
Well, perhaps you will be visiting a tropic misty climate soon.
Perhaps.
Not that I would have any way to know these things. I'm just a quartermaster.
Yeah.
I just have an image of Christiana with like a little popsicle mask, like held up, like, see, I'm just the quartermaster. I would have no idea what you're about to go do.
Oh, God.
Ignore the GM behind the curtain.
Now that's no good. I need you to pay all attention to me.
We are.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
tremble in fear.
No, Christiana just needs a series of different masks to wear.
Or like the guy in Zelda Wind Waker, just like the very different little cutouts, like with face cutouts.
Sploosh.
Sploosh. Anyway, so you get your uniforms set up, and I think that the ceremony is arranged, and you are all escorted into the preserve of the ancestors, and it's evening local time, but there's not really standard day or night here because, of course, you're floating within the endless silvery mists of the ethereal plane. But there's still time of day, and so it's kind of like this is an evening affair. It's a kind of a fancy thing, but you and there are actually a few other individuals who are joining as individuals rather than as a group. But you are all brought in. There's kind of a like it's not like an organized like you're marching in formation or anything like that, but you're brought in to this amphitheater within this enormous domed sanctuary that's a little bit like this African savanna, but the sky, such as it is actually the enormous domed ceiling of the interior of the auroral diamond. And there's an amphitheater inside where you see all of the speakers of the ancestors inside. And the leader, or like the oldest member of the speakers for the ancestors, is a woman named Shole, which I can give you a handout because she's got artwork for her. Oops. So, here we go. So she's kind of presiding over the ceremony, and she is the speaker for the Akarin Sangar, which is one of the connected lands. And one of the things that you have come to know about her, because it is not a secret, is that she is actually not human. She is an ancient brass dragon. And in particular, she was the ancient brass dragon who rediscovered the Citadel. This is part of like the history that you learned in your welcome packet for the shield bearers, is that the Radiant Citadel, as it's currently occupied, it had actually been abandoned for a very long time, and it was rediscovered by explorers of the ethereal plane, including Shola here, and so its current sort of society, as currently living on the Radiant Citadel, is formed by her and the people she brought with her, and they reactivated the connection with the current 15 lands. And so that's the reason that the missing ones, like they can see in its magic that there was originally ways for it to connect to 12 more that are not functional anymore. And the reason it's like we know that, but we don't know where those were, is because it actually had been constructed by question mark number of years prior, but then rediscovered and reoccupied. And so she is one of the current speakers for the ancestors, just one amongst 15 equals as far as authority is concerned. But certainly, if seniority is a factor, she's first there. So she kind of welcomes you to service of the Radiant Citadel, and I do hope that all of you will find this a fulfilling and rewarding endeavor, and that you will strive each and every day to represent the Radiant Citadel and its values for all that you come across. And in addition to this ceremony, there's you see kind of gathered around the outside of the Radiant Citadel. There's, or rather, the amphitheater. I mean, is all of the different Dawn incarnates, which, not I. Let's see. I was trying to, hang on. Sorry, I had this pulled up and then I lost it. It seems like all of them have come to watch, and so there is a turquoise lion, a yellow quartz kapok tree that seems to just kind of, there's a couple of different tree ones that kind of like, they seem to be able to move around, but never when you're looking at them. They kind of just, you blink and they're in a new location. There's a serpentine gem banyan tree, water opal saltwater salamander, a jasper pecan tree that is from God's Breath that you visited, the fire opal Sholos. I don't know how to say that one for San Sitlan. That's that's a word I'm not familiar with. XOLOITZCUINTLE. So yeah, one of those.
One of those. Whatever that is.
Okay.
There's a pronunciation guide for a lot of things, but I didn't think they had that one. But my guess is that it's maybe a little bit like an axolotl, which some people mispronounce as axolotl. Because why wouldn't they? Because it's another unusual spelling. But that was from San Sitlan. The amber scorpion of Cinsa. I haven't been saying the lands for all of these, but moonstone water lily, a ruby pangolin that Canthan would probably recognize. That's from the Sabsonko land. There's a sard elephant, obsidian eagle, pearl carp, amethyst tiger, white jade flowering pear tree, and a bastite caiman. That's from Zinda, where you just had most recently gone. So those are all represented as gemstones. Let's see if I can show you some of these. There's great artwork of some of these that I don't always know how to find. I may not always be able to show you these as handouts, but I'm showing some of them on my screen here, like the ruby pangolin there. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, let's see, player art handouts.
There is some gorgeous artwork in this book.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. No, that's some of the little tiny thumbnails are not always big enough for me to tell what it's going to show a picture of. But yeah, so some of these I will, if I find more handouts, I'll show you. But there is definitely a lot of, so that's kind of the idea, is that a lot of these things look like various animals or trees, but made from sort of floating together gemstones of the specified type. And so you are officially inducted, and then Ariat invites you all out to a tavern to get as drunk as you would like to get. So,
Theodoc probably wouldn't get very drunk, but would definitely discuss their situation with anyone who'd be interested. Being someone from a unknown place, that kind of thing.
Sure. I think one of the things that anyone who spends time with Ariat specifically and indulges in a few drinks, do we have anyone who meets that category?
Why not?
We
Why
get
not?
Tipsy with the new boss.
Tipsy with the
Yeah.
boss. Drinks with the boss.
Yeah, so I think that you will get some indication from him. It's like, So this is a good organization. I think you're going to be. Well, I want to say happy. It's still a job, right? It's hard work. It's a duty, and it's a responsibility that I think sometimes is going to maybe present you with difficult questions. And if we didn't think that you were up to the challenge, we wouldn't have inducted you. But I guess what I want to say here is that, like, if there are times when you feel like you're not sure what the right course of action is, especially if it's anything that would, where you feel like the right thing to do might in some way conflict with the rules of engagement that we've provided you, I want you to know you can come to me to talk about that, because I believe in the system we've got, but I also believe that sometimes the rules are, they're designed for people with no personal discernment, right? Like, they're one size fits all. So I'm not saying you're allowed to break the rules, but I'm saying that I'm aware that there might be situations where you feel like breaking them might be the right thing to do. And in those situations, I'd like you to talk to me about it.
Got it.
And so, yeah, who all is getting drunk? If you would prefer to not make gamify that would be that's fine too.
Oh, I will absolutely gamify that.
All right.
Enoch is having drinks, but on the lighter side and
Sure.
not with the intention of getting drunk.
Yeah, nursing them a little bit, having water in between. That's sensible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xenophon has had one drink, and then just water.
What drink did he have?
What's on tap?
Oh, like beer?
Oh no, on tap. I meant what's on offer, I should say.
Oh well, this is a place where
Yeah.
It's the Radiant
just
Citadel.
about
Okay,
anything from jelly wine to a strange liqueur made from a root that only grows in the elemental plane of water.
Okay, he wants. Okay. I know what Xenophon wants. If they have it available, he would like some wine from. I don't know what the fifth edition book plane is. Asgard is Isgard.
Yeah, I think they spell it Isgard, like
Isgard.
YS.
Yes. He wants some wine from. Isgard.
So I think they would have mead. That's just a
Okay,
personal.
okay, even better.
But,
Okay, mead from Isgard.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
See,
A taste of next to home.
next to home. And Ixel is interested in just different things. So like if they have like like you said, like this is made from a specific root on the elemental plane of water, or like the jelly wine and things of that nature. He wants to try the things that he's not accustomed to.
Okay. So you're mixing, basically.
Yes.
Mix
You're
and
gonna
mismatch or Excel.
have one drink of a whole bunch of different kinds of alcohol. That seems like a recipe for a great next morning.
It is.
I mean, just look at him. How could it be any worse?
Yeah.
Listen, and like
Listen,
if you
Are
guys
you sure you want to do that, dude? It looked really right. Never mind.
And as you're like, never mind, as he chugs it back, and then you see his ears, like it's like when Roger Rabbit had the whiskey, like he kind of shivers, kind of puffs up, you see it travel all the way up through his ears, and then he's just like, and it's a very contented look on his face because he's getting drunk.
Yeah.
There's some-
Kentan is not Kentan. It's not well known because he doesn't focus on it, but Kentan also knows how to brew alcohol, so he's interested in that. But when he overindulges, it's not alcohol. He's eating way too much, and so as the evening is late, he's going, oh.
Flounce. I think
Oh.
Flounce, true to form, her poison of choice is fruity alcoholic cocktails with little umbrellas in them. And what she does is she sticks the little umbrella. She'll like suck off the toothpick part, and then she'll stick them in her fur. So as the evening wears on, she has what is basically a helmet of little umbrellas all over her head.
Excellent. So here's another just little improv activity that if don't feel pressured, but I would like each of you, if you are so inclined. I think many of your other fellow shield bearers who are not currently on duty or off on a mission somewhere are also joining the festivities of welcoming in new rookies. So I would like each of you to describe one of the veteran shield bearers who's also at this party and just a brief encounter that your character has with them. I'm not even talking about a full scene or even like a complete sentence, but just like something that happens, how you met that person.
There's a plasmoid from Spelljammer
Yeah.
who
Oh, nice.
is who makes the worst possible puns out of whatever anybody says. And people try to because somebody tells a pun, you gotta go and tell another pun in the same theme. It's what you do. And Kent then tries, but it's just not his thing. And he spends like 3 minutes and then somebody else says one and it's okay. Well, okay. And then he's trying to think of the next one for that. And then the plasmoid dude, Gorble,
Burble.
responds. And, Gorble is an expert punster and he's just tossing him back and forth with everybody. And Kenthan really wants to be part of that and just can't think of him fast enough.
Nice.
So Dianark sees a tabaxi. And this tabaxi catches their attention because of, it reminds them of a certain tabaxi that their mother described, a bard that wandered through one day, or like stayed for a couple of days, told all these weird stories about this other place, and then just disappeared. Like went around a tree and didn't come out from behind it. This tabaxi's name was Ket of the Sand.
Well played.
Yes. And just chatted about that a bit, and Diana shared one of the songs about a tiefling paladin, and
Nice. So, like I said, if anyone feels like they can't come up with anything and it's stressful, don't worry about it. But if anyone has some.
Yeah, I was just writing it up before
sure.
I talk about it. Okay, so Xenophon sees a drow, because he's seen elves, but he's never seen a dark elf. So he goes up to Laura Harris' daughter and winds up spending 15 minutes chatting with her about meditation techniques and mental disciplines. He comes back later with a slip of paper with her address, and he's kind of confused what this means. He finds a little clueless sometimes.
Oh gosh.
Oh, bards.
Exel is like working the room, like, because as he drinks more of these, like, he's becoming more and more like just relaxed and like kind of smiling, although it's very creepy. Because again, he's not a happy looking rabbit. And like he at one point he like kind of saunters up to Canthan, who's trying to do these puns, and he's like, "You want some?" And he's offering him a drink, but it's one of those moments where Canthan's almost got the pun, but then Exel says it. And because he says it, Canthan can't answer to get the drink or the pun, and he just drinks it and meanders off. And you know, like he wanders up to Xenophon, and seeing him perplexedly looking at the address, he's like, "Well, if you want me, I'll go with you." That's what Buddy. He's like, and it's so funny. It's one of those lean on you very heavily, obviously intoxicated, because that's what friends are for. Want some? And it's a different drink.
No, thank you.
I think Flounce has an encounter with a turtle.
Ooh.
Who is extremely competitive. And I think the way they meet is the turtle wanders up to the bar and kind of stumbles a little bit and puts his hand out, and instead of catching like a bar stool, he catches Flounce on the head. And jerks away because she's got this helmet of umbrellas, and so it's kind of pokey. And so they're mutual. Ow! Hey, watch it! And then he's like, "I challenge you."
Oh no!
Gonna have a race.
To a duel?
Like, holds up his hand, and one of the paper umbrellas is kind of like, "Blood has been spilled. Challenge must be accepted."
But they can't figure out what it is that they want to fight with, because it's kind of like, all right, well, rock paper scissors, it's a race.
So
What do you mean rock? Well, then what's paper or scissors? Duel to the death.
It's at this moment that a even more intoxicated Exel shows up.
Oh no!
And he's got a very red beverage. And if you, I don't know how many of you would remember this, but it smells like the peppers from the festival that we went to the first go rounds,
Jeez.
the night market.
Yep.
And Exel's like, "Try this. Whoever can drink it wins. I've already had two." Each one's different, they say. Each one has a different kick.
and then he burps fire.
Yep. Excellent.
Nice. And I think at this point, a couple of Flounce's paper umbrellas catch fire.
Catch fire. Yep.
And are allowed to burn for probably longer than is safe before someone realizes they.
They burn for a bit, then DNX one comes out and just prestidigitation puts them out.
And I think that there was someone who had just been I think it was too late to stop themselves from dumping water on your head to put them out. So they get put out, but then still you get drenched.
Sad bunny.
Oh.
Sad bunny is sad.
Dry-
Sad bunny takes
Dry 'em off a bit.
Exel's drink.
Dry her off a bit, because also with prestidigitation. 'Cause
Nice. So I think I would say if you feel it is appropriate for your character, go ahead and roll a Constitution saving throw. I think Exel needs to roll at disadvantage.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So both of those are low for Exel, I think.
I think we're carrying the bunny back.
No, 16. I got a 16. Or no, Exel's carrying the big bunny back.
Yeah.
I think Flounce becomes a bigger bunny.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
a very
carries him
useful
back
power.
that way.
Just got him over one shoulder.
Yeah.
Still, but now the helmet of umbrellas is just smaller. Actually, no,
No,
it
no,
would
they
get
were
bigger
size.
with you. Yes.
Yeah, so,
Still slightly smoking at the top.
Mhm.
oh dear God.
So I think then the next morning, let's you're all waking up back at your new place, and so let's have each of you come up with one detail about this place that you've got picked out for you all to stay in.
Well, while we've all been talking, I've been working out a floor plan
Oh, wow.
Yes, he has.
Do
Because
tell.
and sent out a Google Doc.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I'm sorry.
No, it's
no,
feature
no,
not bug.
it's fine.
Oh, that's great.
So on the ground floor, there's as you go in, there's a big common room that has a table and chairs off to one side, and there's a fireplace in the center of the room that goes up through the middle, and the far side of the room is open to the upper floor, and there's like a balcony there to the hallway. On the upper floor, the hallway stretches the whole length of the building.
Yeah.
And on the right, as you come in there, it goes into a quote unquote library. Doesn't actually have a lot of books in it, but it's intended to be a quieter space for study and things like that. And then on the left is the kitchen and storage area, which includes a set of big double doors to the space where Kanthan keeps his food cart. And then the upstairs, there's a long hallway runs the length of the building with bedrooms on either side.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
we've already claimed them all.
And
Except for Exel, who is apparently getting the final one.
Mhm. Yeah.
At this moment, it's fine. At this moment, it's fine.
Dianok chose their bedroom because it's actually above storage area, so it's got a little odd
There
smell.
we go.
So when Dianok does magic rituals, any odd smell for that would just mask what's already there.
Protective coloration. The weird thing in Xenophon's bedroom is there's a painting of dogs playing poker.
Yeah, Kanthan's room is basically just a place to sleep. His space is the kitchen, and there's just herbs hanging from the ceiling, and
Yeah, how much is that workshop for your food card? How much is that for us actually preparing food?
people are always welcome to use it, but Kanthan has a tendency to go in after someone's used it and put everything back where it
Yeah,
belongs.
I was imagining it being the sort of thing where Kanthan is always quick to say, "Of course, come on in," but everyone kind of recognizes that anything you try to do in the kitchen, Kanthan is just going to be right over your shoulder, and not saying that you're doing it wrong, but you can just tell that it would it would just be faster and a better outcome, frankly, if you would just let him do it. But he doesn't want to be bossy about it.
Well, I mean,
Dianok absolutely just let's Kanthan take care of the food.
I mean, I don't
They-
want to put that on your character, Nicholas.
no, yeah, I don't think he'd treat it that way. It's more
Okay.
like if you come into his kitchen, you're going to be chopping something.
I see.
Oh,
So it's more
I
like
see.
you don't tell people to come in, but if they're there, you put them to work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because
Sorry,
there's
but-
always an extra pair of hands will always speed things up, and it's like, okay, well, just watch that pot, and if it boils, tell me, and things like that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Occasionally, Dianok will go and help with prep and such, but not not trying to actually make any big meals.
Yeah. I think Flounce's room is like 9/10 workspace
Mm-hmm.
for her rune carving, and then a couple of additional books that she's gotten about interesting stuff that may help make stuff go boom later. She's still learning.
Big battle room.
When you say 9/10 workspace, that literally, like, tell me if this is not right, but I'm imagining it's the sort of thing where if you go in, there is only sort of a narrow pathway that leads to the bed, which does have work materials on it. And when it's bedtime, the stuff comes off the bed and goes into the place where is the clear path the rest of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So you trade, you share space on the bed with your own projects, and
Yes.
yeah, I like that. Okay, great. So, you've got a cool new job, cool new house. Um, you've had some bonding activity. I want you to all now tell me what you do with a week of downtime.
Oh boy.
We were using the downtime rules
Yeah.
from Xanathar's. Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't have those handy, that's okay. You tell me in a general category, and I will help figure out what the appropriate, roles or whatever would be.
Yeah, I don't have those handy.
I
so
can
gotta
pull
think
them up,
about
but
this.
don't worry about that. So just think about it fiction first. What would your character be doing in their time off? Because you've got a lot of orientation and initiation stuff going on, where you have your sort of little introductory packets and like the code of conduct and all of that sort of thing. But we're assuming that you have some free time, and so that's what we're talking about here. Is what are you spending that
Yeah.
time doing?
Uh, Kanthan is absolutely establishing his golden prawn shrimp egg roll cart.
Okay.
And pushing it around the town, and whenever he comes across a vendor who's got some condiment or other, he buys some to add to his cart and then puts a little tag on it that says where he got it,
Mm-hmm.
and whose sauce it is. And so yeah, he's cooking and networking.
All right. Well, I
um,
think I think that probably fits best in work, right?
Right, work, or I was
Unless you,
also thinking that we could also resolve it using the carousing rule.
well, that's what I was just going to say is that work would be if your primary goal here is making an income, but if you're really kind of doing more of the networking of like
Yeah,
establishing, making contacts and all of that sort of thing, we can definitely
yes.
do it as carousing.
I would like to do it as carousing.
Okay, so on that basis, then, um, we'll just kind of ignore the gold cost for now. No, well, actually,
No,
so
yeah,
no, no.
I'm
So what class are you looking
middle
to?
class,
Middle class.
yeah.
So you're gonna need to spend
50 gold,
50
yep.
gold for this, and go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Okay. 19.
19 means you get to make 2 allied contacts. And middle class contacts include guild members, spellcasters, town officials, and other folk who frequent well kept establishments.
Yeah.
And so,
So
would you like to come up with kind of categories that you'd like, and I can help decide who these people are? Or
well, I think the first one is the official who's in charge of making sure that the food carts around town are being properly licensed.
okay,
And it doesn't strike me that the Radiant Citadel is the kind of place that would say, okay, we're only going to have 50 carts in town. You have to have this medallion, and sorry, they're all bought up and you can't operate a food cart. I don't think it'd be that
right.
kind of place. But there would be a seal that you would get to say, this is being operated in a healthy manner.
Right. Yeah, they do have, like quality control checks, like, make sure
Yeah,
that you're not going to be accidentally
yeah,
or intentionally poisoning anyone, that you're not,
yeah, or yeah, and that the food is not gonna cause harm.
right. Not a
So
front for criminal activity.
yeah, that kind of thing. So
Right.
so a kind of someone who's like a constable, but not like who's someone who's specific to inspecting these carts,
Mhm.
and he is, you know, Kenthan thought he was a gourmand. Kenthan thought that he was someone who liked to taste absolutely everything, and this person is just has an infinite capacity. And it's like, where does he put it? Has he got a bag of holding inside him or something? And just to be like counter the stereotype, um, uh, he's he's a knoll.
A knoll. Okay. Yeah.
No. Oh.
Well, that's
Um,
classically hungry.
right? Yes,
Yeah.
But
this
nice.
isn't like an entirely different
Yeah.
context.
Hmm.
And and Kanthan thought that this guy, don't have a name for him yet, really liked his jokes, but it just turns out that's the way he breathes.
Oh boy.
All
So
right.
let's give this guy a name.
Uh, what came to mind first for me, honestly, is Jackie, but I don't know if that works for you. That just kind of came to like it. It's I know a jackal is not identical to a hyena, but
Yeah. Um, uh, Actually, let's go with that. Jackie Zest.
Jackie Zest. All right.
Yeah, that's his name. And uh, and let's see, do they have? I was looking for there's like a specific place to put contacts, but uh,
uh, Notes, Ally.
yeah, notes is fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Also, do roll a d10 for me.
all right. Um,
Okay. Yeah. So you do not have a complication.
okay.
Right. Oh,
Okay.
so you have Jackie Zest was one
Was
contact.
one.
You
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, let's see. Why don't you make one up because I'm
Okay. I think that you make good friends in the trade discal with
uh-huh.
someone who is able to, like, it's one of those things that feels like it doesn't seem like it's precisely under the table or illicit in any actual meaningful way. And yet somehow it feels a little bit like that. What they're managing to do is they seem able to get you the best, freshest produce right out of the Concord gyms, wherever they're coming from. And, uh,
Right.
and basically charges you a premium for getting first pick. And
Right.
it's one of
Yeah.
those things that it's again it feels a little bit like giving someone a kickback for black market items, except strictly speaking he's just buying. He seems like he's really good at getting the good stuff and he
Right.
charges a premium for it, but you make friends with this guy and
Yeah.
he gives you the friends discount for that stuff.
Yeah. And let's give this guy a
Yeah.
name.
So
I'm feeling like he should be a halfling.
well, I was going to say let's make it a lady too,
Yeah.
lady halfling, and so not only is she must be in good with the Clevagers who pilot the Concord gems and
Right.
manage all of that loading and unloading, but she also, I think it's also the sort of thing where she seems uncannily able to get all over the city at speeds that seem impossible. And whenever
Okay.
you ask about it, she just goes, trade secret.
Okay, I just went to a Hobbit name generator,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them was Brittany Gamwich.
Sure. Brittany
Yeah.
That sounds
Ganwich.
great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a fantastic Hobbit name.
All right. Excellent. So now, if you should need them in the future, you know two people here in the
Yeah,
Citadel who can
yeah.
help you
Who can
with things that make sense that they would know.
Right, right.
All right. Who else has got a downtime activity?
All right. Dianoc has three things that I don't think should rely on a roll.
Okay.
One is casting Find Familiar out of that ritual book.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can just do that. That
Yeah.
would only take you 10 minutes, right?
Making getting a little lizard friend.
Nice.
And then the other things are borrowing the bag of holding and the here's handy haversack, and seeing if I can cast arcane lock on it.
Yeah,
on them, so
I
that
had previously
us.
told you that's allowed, so yeah.
So do that, and then downtime. Basically, trying to talk with people at the Preserve of the Ancestors and
Mm-hmm.
Palace of Exile, just to see if you can find some information on, try and locate the world that Dianoc is from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think that we could either call that research, but we could also potentially call it carousing in the same way that we just did with Canthan, in the sense that what if primarily what you're doing is talking to people as opposed to trying to like look for books or documents or whatever. So is one of those rather than the other?
I think
Like,
research.
yeah, carousing, certainly you'd be making a persuasion check, so rather than
Yeah,
an
yeah.
intelligence check. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that research might be.
Yeah.
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 So for resources, for research, once again, you need access to a library or sage. But we just established that as a member of the Shield Bearers, you have some access there. 1 week work week of effort and at least 50 gold spent on materials, bribes, gifts, and other expenses. And then you can also choose to spend more gold than that if you want to get additional bonuses. So you're going to make an intelligence check, and you have 50 gold to start with. But if any additional block of 50 gold will give you an additional +1 to the check.
Let's see. Okay, there it is. I'll go ahead and put 100
Okay.
into this.
So you're gonna make an intelligence check and get an extra +1 on it.
And this just straight intelligence?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So that was a natural 19 +4 +1
Nice.
for 24.
Okay. Well,
Nice.
21 plus, you learn 3 pieces of lore. So let's see. I think also, let's see. Go ahead and roll a d10 for me as well, just to see if you get a complication.
I got a 5.
Okay, no complication.
Okay.
So the 3 pieces of lore. You're trying to research about your place specifically, or
Well, the places that are lost connections.
okay, sure, yeah.
And if possible, like if I find any information that matches what I know about my world,
Mm-hmm.
narrow in that way.
Sure. Okay. Well, as mentioned briefly before, you learn a little bit more detail that there is, amongst the other active Dawn Incarnates, there is the Sapphire Dragon that is, as far as anyone can tell, dead. The gemstones are blackened and non-moving, but retain the shape of the dragon, which is how they can tell that that's what it is instead of a pile of blackened gemstones. And one of the things I think you learn about it is, first of all, it's a little bit strange. Like, why is that one there, whereas the other lands that don't seem connected anymore just don't have any presence at all, right? So that's unusual. Um, but also it's a little bit strange that uh, I think it's not so much that like it cannot be moved, like it couldn't be physically moved, so much as the other Dawn incarnates seem very clear that no one should touch it.
Hmm. Okay.
So there's kind of a like it it's sort of the equivalent of a velvet rope around it and a warning sign, but it's basically that anyone who approaches it is allowed to look at it from a distance of 10 feet away or so. But I think nobody has tried to defy the Dawn incarnates to look at it more closely than that in a while.
Oh, oh, oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
Enoch is
Uh-oh.
going to be
that's
good.
tempting words.
Good now.
Yeah. Well, so, but the point is, though, that not only do they seem to guard it, but they have an unwavering opinion that it should not be touched or interfered with. But it seems to be completely inactive in any other respect, except, like I said, for maintaining the shape despite being apparently dead. So that's one piece of lore about that. I might need to think a bit more on some of the. Well, let's see. Now let's see. I think that the second piece of lore, if this you feel like this counts as a second piece, is that the Concord gem that did just kind of appear near you, despite not seeming to have any regular presence there, and then shows up once and then disappears again from here, was a sapphire one.
Dum dum dum.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is actually good to know.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the current theories amongst the scholars here in the Radiant Citadel who study these things is that whatever it was that caused the connections to be broken and potentially the Citadel to have been abandoned the first time around might be related to the keening gloom, which, as you may recall, is the strange sort of swirling ether void storm thing that kind of lurks nearby the Radiant Citadel, in a relatively like fixed proximity, but kind of seems like, hey, don't go over there. It seems real dangerous, but otherwise there's not really anything to be done about it. But people suspect that it may have been that storm expands or contracts on some sort of epoch scale timeline, and that perhaps it had once threatened to engulf the Radiant Citadel, and that's why it was abandoned, and then it was rediscovered after it had withdrawn again. But that's just a theory.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So, Flounce, what are you getting up to?
I think Flounce is using this this week to kind of live in the library
Mm-hmm.
that the shield bearers have access to,
Okay.
so that she can learn more about what this artificer thing is.
Okay.
Because she has heard many wonderful things about the possibilities, and so she's a rune carver.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a natural expansion from that to her way of thinking. So,
Sure. So we could do two different things. It could be research again, just like Dianok just did, Or given that it's kind of working towards a potential level in artificer, we could call it training.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it would be is
Okay.
training.
All right, so training in a language or tool would typically take 10 work weeks, reduced by a number of work weeks equal to the character's intelligence modifier. So, what is your current intelligence modifier?
It is a +1.
Okay, and that's with the ability score increase you just did?
Yep.
Okay, so that means that it would be 9 work weeks to learn to actually get proficiency in a new thing that you don't have now.
Mm-hmm.
But you could certainly start progress on that.
Yep.
Do you know which one you would want it to be?
I'm actually thinking.
I mean, you're going to get some automatically when you take
Yeah.
an artificer level,
Right.
but you can have this be something like extra.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Let's see. Jeweler's tools
Okay.
is what I'm thinking because that also goes into my rune carver.
Well, and how about this? What I'll offer is we can say that for flavor, you're working on something that when you get the artificer level, that you get that as like whatever ones you get automatically taking that level. We can say that this was towards that, but then you'll have, a week credit for something else.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay. Do roll a d10 for me, and also it costs you 25 gold to do that training.
Alrighty. And that's an 8.
All right, no complications for you. It is a 10% that we're rolling for, by the way, so just in case people are unclear on that. All right, what about Exel? What are you doing for this week?
Exel's he's looking for a breastplate.
Okay.
But the other two things that he's doing is he's exploring communication with the voice that led him to go to the Radiant Citadel, or to the portal that guided him to the Radiant Citadel.
Okay.
A part of that has been with more of that talking, because we leveled up last time. He got his invocations, and that was through like meditating, studying, going into the library, reading about different things and aspects that he's talked with the voice about. And so I would say I guess it would be probably more akin to training, I guess.
Well, what I was actually going to say is, we just talked about like research could potentially be it, but then there's also religious service that we could adapt that way.
Okay, yeah.
So if you want to do it as religious service, you would be, you choose to make either a religion or a persuasion check. I think probably persuasion would be what you would pick, is my guess. But
yeah.
And so there's no cost here. But normally, what it would require is access to an attendance at a temple whose beliefs and ethos align with the characters. So I think you wouldn't necessarily have that here, but whatever this voice was, it told you to come here. And so I'll allow that, like, trying to sort of commune with the presence of this place seems to be sort of, I would allow that as an equivalent here on the basis of, like, all right, I'm here.
Yeah, and I like the religious aspect, because I was going to say in his room he has an altar, but it does not seem to have any sort of deity or like focus to it. Like it's almost like a half done one, because he doesn't know. He like, it has kind of that feel to it, but he doesn't know what to really do with it. He doesn't know how, if he needs to, like, what direction he needs to take it. So it's just and it's almost, and like with his same thing with his spellcasting focus. It's not geared towards any deity or any sort of training or any sort of arcane thing. It's just it's a thing that he has.
Sure. So, in this context, then, the way we do this is you're going to go ahead and do your persuasion roll, and then also roll a d10 to see if there's complication. Okay. All right. So, despite your +8, you only got a 10. So, unfortunately, it seems like, at least so far, the voice does not seem to be getting back to you. It's leaving you on red at the moment. Oh no! Maybe that's why, because your D10 was a 1, which means you do have a complication.
Oh
So
boy.
go ahead and roll a D6 for me.
Oh,
Oh,
oh boy.
6.
Okay.
Ah! And I roll nearly a 1, then I roll a 1, and then I roll a max.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's just a table of potential complications. It's not, the 6 isn't worse than 1 or anything. But the complication is you accidentally discover that an important person in the temple is a fiend worshiper. And so I think in this context, we didn't we just established that there's not really like a formal temple, but it could be. Did you uh, we could have it just be um, like how about this? If I might suggest this, maybe at one point you went into this little park, this little tree wooded area near your house there, and you were just kind of trying to say, well, maybe I'll meditate in here and see if I get any luck. And you are trying to meditate or whatever it is that you might be doing there, and you hear sort of a strange chanting from like the next little sort of clearing over. And when you glance over there, you see someone in a dark robe who has inscribed a fiery, like, magic circle on the grass and seems to be doing like abyssal chants. And looks like he's maybe trying to start summoning something. And there's a moment there where you're looking at that, and then there's a moment where he kind of stops chanting and he looks back over at you, and there's just this moment of awkward eye contact. And he says, I didn't know anyone else liked to come in this park. So I don't know. Are we cool?
Yeah, it's like you just kind of see one of Axel's ears droop, and he kind of tilts his head. He's like, "I'm done. I think I'm done for today. I was just trying to get a breath of fresh air. You go on with
All right.
what you're doing," and he just kind of backs away, like, and now he's in because he knows Abyssal, and so, and he's also now remembering the last adventure they went on, and he's like, maybe I should go tell someone. in his head, like, so he's like, no, that's cool, and he makes a casual walk away, and then as soon as he's out of reach, it's like bunny hop, run.
Nice. So yeah, we now have someone trying to summon demons nearby. Wearing a cloak, you didn't get a really good look at him, but
Yeah.
see, cloaks.
Yeah.
All right. So that interfered with your ability to commune in the way that you hoped, Axel, this time, but maybe another time. What about Xenophon? What did you get up to?
Well, Xenophon's plan and plot ever since coming to the Citadel and his reason Detra is to learn stories of adventurers and learn stories of places, people. So he's been wandering around, talking to adventurers, learning their stories, learning where they've been, finding their backstories, basically putting it all into his head. He'll eventually write it down. Now that they have a house, he can actually start writing things. So he's basically doing that sort of getting people's tales for his own edification and his own amusement. In that we'll keep a very discreet curtain over. But yes, he does go visit the Drow, and what happens in there we'll keep behind closed
Okay.
doors.
Nice. All right. So.
I think that deserves adding a contact to your page there.
Oh well, sure.
Yes, yes,
no, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to add
That
Laura
seems
Harris'
appropriate.
daughter to the contact page. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
It's a lot of carousing.
That's a lot of carousing.
Well, so on that basis, do you want to have carousing be the
I think so.
activity here?
I think that's the
Okay.
right call here.
Well, so let's go ahead and have you do the cost and the roll here. I think I will allow that you get that contact for free.
Okay.
But now you're also carousing though. So
Yep,
are you
absolutely.
carousing with lower class, the middle class, or the upper class? The price is different for
I
you
think
know,
I-
higher, obviously the higher class.
Yeah, he'll go for the higher. He'll go for the
Upper class
upper
costs
class.
250 gold.
Holy hen! I don't think I have that much.
Well, there you go.
Go. What about middle class?
50 gold.
Yeah, he'll pay 50 gold. to do
All
that.
right. So you can so symbol okay, so if you then are doing the carousing, you pay that 50 gold and
Yep.
make a persuasion check
Okay, here we go.
and roll
23.
a d10, of course. So 23,
Nice.
you get 3 allied contacts.
All right.
Nice.
But do roll a d10 as well. Okay.
7.
No complication for you. So let's figure out who your other contacts are. We can decide that drow is one of them if you like, or we can do 3 more. I think
This is decided she's one of the 3 contacts.
I think so. At any time, a character can have a maximum number of unspecified allied contacts, equal to 1 plus the character's charisma modifier. Named contacts don't count towards that list. So basically, so what that means is, and we can revisit this if you want to, Canthan, is that we can leave them. You can have a certain number of those be unnamed, which means that you could in the future decide that any given NPC is,
Oh,
is your
okay.
contact.
I like that idea because then I can say, oh yeah, that's one of the people I talked to, and
Mhm.
let's hook it right in immediately. So I'm going to write down I have 2 additional contacts besides the
Mhm.
Laura, and we
Yeah.
see if that becomes useful in the future.
Yeah. Would you have wanted to do that?
You know something? If I had known before made these 2, I definitely would have taken the option to do one of them that way because
Okay.
I could only
Well,
I can only
how-
use the one.
because-
However,
Oh.
I love both of these so much that I
Okay.
don't want to drop either of them.
How
to
about this?
take
We'll
it.
give you because we're only discovering after the fact. You keep the 2 that we decided on, and you get 1
Okay.
unspecified. And then
Okay.
so Xenophon, you have high charisma, I think, right? So
Yes.
so you could have all 3 of those stay unspecified if you want.
No, I'll keep one as the Drow Laura and have the other 2 unspecified.
Okay. All right. And so, after a week of, hard work and or networking and or encountering creepy guys in the park,
There's one more thing
Oh.
I'd like to do.
yeah, go ahead.
Do that speak with dead thing.
Yes.
that
yes.
conversation.
Yeah. So I think a couple of you still have that in your pocket too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So tell me about that. Like you do it over a long rest and like
Yeah. Basically, kind of set up. I imagine like it's in a kind of a treehouse that was this. I think it's DNR's great grandparent,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
and it's in their treehouse, and treehouse as in is like built into a tree,
Okay.
and kind of a tea set. I imagine is what I set up.
Well, like so
Right, I
the
guess-
traditional way that the ritual would work would be that they visit you where you are, but
Oh,
if you
okay.
want it to be a bit more like a dream, that can work too.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean, if
guess
that's what you were envisioning, I think that's fine. I'm not going to say no, it doesn't work like that.
yeah, let's have it be like a dream.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That works, especially since you're doing it a little different anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's in you're finding yourself kind of in that with the tea set and the treehouse.
Yeah. And just Dianak is kind of sitting there, and the clothing they are normally with, you know, the missing fingers, like
Mhm.
just their normal self, even though they haven't been in in this place for several years since
Mhm.
this person uh, died a while ago.
Mhm. So, question:
Yes.
Is this someone that Dianok ever knew, like personally? Like, did you know them,
Yes.
or this? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Like
and then the other piece of this is so what the way this ritual works is it lets you cast the speak with dead spell essentially
yeah.
with them, and so just like that spell, they know what that person would have known. They and will answer accordingly. So they can't necessarily know anything that
Yeah.
person wouldn't have known.
And I figure, if they know, then they know. If they don't, then well, that is, you know, still point something out.
Hmm. So, what was your relationship with them? Were you close? And I guess the other question is too, was your exile before or after they died?
It was after their death.
Okay,
They died shortly after Diana came of age.
okay. So they wouldn't know about that.
No, they wouldn't know,
Okay,
but they would. I imagine the finger thing is traditional enough that they would know of it.
okay. So I imagine then that they sort of you find yourself with them and they look over to you and smile and reach out to maybe just touch your cheek, but then they see your hands and just kind of look confused, like what happened?
I uh, I went and explored something I was not supposed to explore and got caught. Um, Place in the deepest grove. I went in there, and it was the top of a buried tower, and I was wondering if you might know why that was so forbidden that this would happen because of it.
They kind of she kind of opens her mouth and then gestures at you. The nature of the spell is you have to ask specific questions.
Do you know why that place is forbidden to access?
So I'm laughing only because I'm not going to cheat you here, but it's also you just ask. She could just say yes, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think instead she says, and her voice is kind of a little bit echoey in the space. Is, the place is forbidden because there's fear that traveling there would bring dangers to the community.
What would be the source of said dangers?
Though this was only what I was told when I was young, I was told that extraplanar entities watched that tower waiting for something, and that they had malice in their eyes.
When I was in there, I saw writing. Writing which I was not familiar with. Do you know what the writing would say?
I have not been inside. I don't know.
Well, is this spell like limited to 3
It's
questions or
5 questions.
5 questions? Okay. Do you know if do you know what happened to others who have entered there and not been exiled?
The only people who have entered the place were exiled due to this fear. There has been no other outcome that I know of.
Does that place have a name other than uh, what we have called the area, what we have called our settlement?
In the years since I was young, the decision was made to keep it secret and taboo rather than give the specific warning. And as such, its name has been lost. But when I was young, it was called the Tower of Concordance. And that's the fifth question. But she kind of lingers for a moment, and although she looks sadly down at your hands, she then looks at you. Hmm?
I'm going to draw the attention to the thing. I may have lost them in their rightful place, but they are being good use.
I think she actually reaches out to kind of like lower your hands, like she sees that, but then she just looks at all of you and then goes in to give you a hug. But I think as the hug, you feel it for a moment, but then it kind of starts to fade and the vision
Yeah.
passes.
So like I kind of go in, then my arms close
Well,
on
no, I don't think it's quite that
Okay.
that frustrating. I think it's more just like you get a moment of embrace before
Okay.
it fades.
And then I go back into my regular trance.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Oh, that's something interesting.
Mm. So I think uh, it has oddly been 1 week since you got inducted. uh, that was bad. Anyway, it's been a week. It's been a week, and you have mostly been, getting your initiation, orientation, all of that sort of thing, and training and everything. But you receive a letter that morning that contains it bears the seal of the shield bearers, and you have been given your first assignment. And what the letter says is, hold on, let me make sure. Um, um, is that there is a magistrate in the land of Unido. A magistrate is sort of like, to call them a low level government official is a little bit misleading because that still puts them substantially higher than anyone who's not a government official, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Named Kun Anjun says that he believes that there is some supernatural mystery afoot that he cannot seem to persuade anyone locally is real. And he would like to have the shield bearers look into it because he cannot persuade anyone there that that something's happening, but he is certain that there are mysteries afoot.
That, that's definitely interesting.
Well, we
Definitely
like
sounds up our
mysteries.
alley.
Yeah.
Okay, before we go into that,
Mhm.
there was one more thing I wanted to do.
Oh, sure.
Kanthan has gone out and spent 50 gold on um, five little gold shrimp badges
Ah,
to our uniforms as a
Nice.
unit insignia.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
Thank you,
Uh,
Ken Fan.
Also, Exel, I think you had mentioned wanting to get a breastplate, and I didn't cover that at the time, but I think you can get a breastplate provided by the shield bearers. It's one of those where it's like it's being provided by the quartermaster, and so it's not like brand new.
Mhm.
You know, it shows a few signs of wear, but it fits appropriately.
Oh, absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think given how not stealthy Flounce is, she would have tagged along to see if they have one in her size as well.
Can you wear? Well, yeah. So a fighter can wear a breastplate.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. So
Awesome.
I think each of you are, like again, it doesn't look fancy. It looks well worn but functional.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the did you? So here's the questions. Like if you wanted to research or if you wanted to see if you maybe already knew anything about this place of Ionido before you go there, now would be the time before you decide to go and
We will.
report.
DNOC will absolutely research.
Okay.
Yeah. Have I talked to anybody who's from there? I do want to know. Maybe
Okay.
I have, maybe I haven't.
Well, so I guess in this case, it would just be, it's going to be a history check for anyone
Yep.
who kind of wants to see what they already know or, because here's the thing is you've been given orders that you're on the job now. So it's not
Right, we're
time
on
to
the
do
clock.
another week in the library, right?
Right.
It is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you can do a history check to see what you might already know about them. And then, otherwise it's, you would have to tell me what you're doing to try to learn more.
I got a 22 on my history check.
Okay, that's pretty good. So, what you know, Xenophon, is that UNIDO stands for the City of Judgment. It is a monarchy it's ruled by a queen, and the queen and the royal family are considered like unimpeachable, meaning it is socially taboo to even speak ill of them. Which, notably, is not quite the same thing as saying specifically illegal, but it is the sort of thing that people will walk away from you if you do it, like that
Mhm.
sort of thing.
Gets you ignored in restaurants and
Yes.
yeah.
It is very much a cultural tradition as opposed to like a law. But yeah, so there is the royal family, and then there are clans, and there are so yeah, there's the royal family, and then there are magistrates who are like the functionaries of the government, the people who are actually going out there and like doing stuff. And then there are also what are known as spirit arbiters, because one of the things that UNIDO does tend to have is spirits known as guishin, which are like, because there is very much just like this idea that you don't speak ill of the royal family, there's also a lot of just cultural taboos about like, if someone asks for your help, you help them, of course, but at the same time, it's very big on like you don't ever talk about something that would be embarrassing about someone else. You don't ever gossip about something that would be like like to talk ill or embarrassing about some other person is just kind of like really, you know, not appropriate. And there's a lot of honoring your clan and your family and all of that sort of tradition there. And Guishin seem to come about when you know, the operating theory is that they are members of some clan or family that feels after its death like it's not being honored appropriately, or it has some sort of unfinished business, and it is considered the family in question's responsibility to try to satisfy and soothe and pacify the Guishin. But what happens sometimes is they don't have any living relatives, or their living relatives seem uninterested in getting the job done. And because it is part of this tradition that, like, you know, gosh, that family, you know, the next clan over has a Guishin running around, that would be embarrassing. So it's ignored. You don't talk about it, right? But they do have spirit arbiters who work for the government, and they're basic, like, rogue Guishin that are not being taken care of by the normal practices. That they try to appease them, and if that cannot be done, to destroy them, but only as a last resort. And then the current queen, let's see, is named. Hang on, I'm looking at a couple things here. Yeah, so there's the queen, and you know, they rule out of a place in the city called the Seat of Dragons, and the queen is themselves dragonborn. Most of the people in Unido are either human or dragonborn. And I guess I will, if you have any other specific questions, you can, you know, because you got a pretty good roll, so. But I think those are kind of the basics of what you know about them.
So yeah, I will tell my fellow members that will go. Oh yes, I spoke to somebody from, you know, and then basically speak in rhyme and meter about this and what we need to do, and what it's going to be like there, as far as I know.
All right.
Okay. I guess that's, excuse me, that covers most of basically what Dianoc would have researched, counter research. So.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to find. There's a.
Oh, well, what is the general climate of Unido?
Oh, like weather-wise?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it exists in kind of a jungle zone, but it's cooler and misty.
Wow, cloaks.
Cloaks. That's the tweet.
Mm-hmm.
So temperate rainforest, kind of like the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Like say Japan, or like say parts of Japan,
Or Korea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I was looking for a specific. No, that's not it. Okay, yeah. So just a little bit more detail about the kind of the culture there. Unido's people are expected to present a brave face, kind of whatever regardless of what's hardships they're facing. And that's like something notable about the culture, just because like you will find someone who's obviously in distress, but if you ask them how they're doing, they'll say, "Oh, you know, getting by," because that's just kind of the expected. And talking about another person's mishaps in public brings great shame to that person, and to be good neighbors, other people, you know, don't want to do that. And like I said, they will help each other if asked, but otherwise it's, you know, like you ignore that someone's in trouble unless they ask for help, because otherwise that's potentially embarrassing, you know, that they need help, right? But then, yeah, and in particular, to speak ill of the royal family, particularly Queen Jinmi, is to betray a profound trust. All right.
And I imagine as you are, if you do so repeatedly, you'll just you'll gain a reputation.
Yeah. Well, and you're just likely to not get any help from any of the people you're talking to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah, that's to Yonito.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it is you are catching the Amethyst Concord Gym.
Mm-hmm.
And once as with many of these locations, it deposits you at a location that is kind of like there's an established little trading depot clearing there, but then a road which is a couple of miles to get to the city itself. And so as you're on your way there, the curving walls of the city of Unito come into view. And let me go ahead and give you the Unito map. And it will load here. There we go. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. The curving walls of the city of Unito come into view. Atop the walls, tall, colorful flags and ribbons flutter from poles. Traders, guards, and workers come and go through a grand gate, passing from the surrounding farmlands into the maze of graceful structures beyond. As you watch, a pale mist rises from within the city. It drifts through the gates and breaks over the walls as if the entire city were exhaling one great breath.
Wow.
And which direction do we come in at?
There's I think you're coming in from the south.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So down here, this. Whoops, I didn't mean to draw a circle. I meant to just ping. But yeah, the gate down here at the south.
Okay. I assume we've got some kind of directions to our contact.
Well, so I think let me restate that perhaps this is a substantial mist that seems to be emanating from the city, not the jungle. So
Okay.
I would invite anyone who wants to say, "Hey, that's weird," to make a nature check.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is weird.
absolutely. Make a nature check.
Everybody make a nature check.
Yeah, I don't have a bonus for it, so
I got an
what-
18.
Okay.
I got a 17.
Yeah, I think that those of you who beat 12 are going to say,
Oh, we've really got that.
this is not just, oh gosh, that's the way mist is here. You recognize, like, that's not how mist works anywhere. That's not a natural mist. Something is, that's strange. And as you're nearing the city gate, you notice that the guards and the other travelers are bewildered. Like they're acting like this is strange. They are acting like they think it's strange too, but they're kind of trying to go about their business regardless. You were supposed to meet this magistrate inside the gate in the plaza.
okay. Well,
Yeah. Let's go there first, and then if
Let's
we
go.
can't find them, then we can take action.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you are making your way through the little main gate there, and then there's kind of just a little sort of public square there. But this is a thick mist, and especially since you don't really know the way, I think you're kind of moving slow because you don't have more than maybe 60 feet maximum visibility, and as you are kind of looking through there and you're seeing like all the people around here also seem to be just as weirded out by this as you. But then 3 hostile figures swoop out of the mist and begin to like dive bomb people. Like at least at first they're not directly attacking, but they're like swooping by and like knocking people over and growling. And when you first get a look at one of them, it looks like they all three of them look like the same fierce-looking woman with a mouthful of fangs, claw-like nails, and feathered wings. All the people in the crowd kind of start to panic, and the gargoyles have started to attack traders' wagons. And there's a couple of guards from the gate that are trying to cover the retreat of people, but these strange figures are flying around attacking people.
Okay.
I
I'm
we
gonna-
can have that.
Rolling initiative, I guess.
Yeah, rolling in.
Yeah.
Gals.
All right, so this is we don't have a map proper for it, but
Okay.
I could make just kind of like a little like a blank map for us if you guys prefer that.
Yeah.
I would prefer that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I know I have quite a while to get myself to figure out what I'm going to be doing. Rolling a natural 1 on initiative.
All right. Okay.
Waiting until I've got a map and a token.
There
Yeah.
we go. I'm
Keep it simple.
putting you. There we go. And so I think you should all have the map and
There we go. I don't know why it went 14.
And for some reason,
Man, mine didn't actually take. Okay.
mine's
well,
not,
I
mine's not-
I didn't have you on the tracker when you
Oh.
originally
Oh,
did
that
it,
makes sense.
so you
I
can
did
just
the
type
best.
it in if you got to roll otherwise. But
Yeah, for some reason, it's not publishing over.
it's not because, like I said, you weren't on the tracker, you weren't on the map
Yeah.
until
Now
you rolled too soon
No.
because I was setting up the map.
No, I waited, and it's not punching
Still
over.
not doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's on there. I see it on there. 13?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
on
I
there.
put it on. I put it on there.
Okay, well then, what's the problem?
It's not showing in the
Okay. There's mine.
in the scroller.
It.
I didn't auto populate.
I'm
I had to.
Okay.
Lee, I had to reload my my D&D Beyond, and click the features and traits to resync it to Roll20.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do
Okay.
that. Okay.
All
All right.
I
Good
yeah.
call.
I don't have anything for you. I'm not sure what you're saying, but if you have it figured out, is that everything good? Yeah.
Yep, everything's
Okay.
good.
All right. And did it roll? There we go. Okay. So, there are 3 of these things swooping around in the mist. As mentioned, you have a 60-foot visibility. And I think, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and say that past 30 feet, ranged attacks have disadvantage because it's lightly obscured.
Okay.
But you can, and then past more than 60 feet that's it. But Axel, you're first up.
Alrighty. Let's see. Probably nothing of super import, but I do have 2 Eldritch Blasts now. So, I will Eldritch Blast the one closest to me. So he's 25 feet. So that's
Okay.
good. Dirty
All
20.
right. That hits.
Second blast. 13.
Well, 13 does not hit.
Okay, so only one.
So, and in fact, the 13 seems to sort of hit it like a glancing blow, and it doesn't seem to really react like flesh. It seems tougher than that. So only when you kind of hit it more dead on did it seem to have its effect. But
Okay, it's only 10
nonetheless,
points of flesh.
yeah. You do 10 points of damage, and it snarls, and it looks like it might be ready to come at you. or she, because as I mentioned, these things seem to be monsters, but they do appear to all look like the same fanged winged woman.
Hmm. I don't remember that. But yeah, that's my turn.
All right. Xenophon.
Okay, so first thing I will turn and look at Flounce, and I will give Flounce a D8 of Bardic Inspiration.
Yay! Thank you.
Flounce, it's great to fight with you again. Be strong, grow, and smash the women for Fend. And I will turn
That's
to
the plan.
and I will turn to the nearest gargoyle.
Mm-hmm.
Woman of stone and teeth and no renown, your abilities I will decrease and drown. Vicious mockery.
All right. So they make wisdom save. Is that right?
They do.
They got an 8.
Okay, they failed. And so they get 5 points of damage and have disadvantage on their next attack roll.
Okay.
That is Xenophon's turn. Actually, Xenophon's actually going to move to here, get out of the line of fire because he's the squishiest person in this whole pond.
All right. Flounce.
All right. Well, Flounce is going to. Well, they're up in the air, so.
Well, right now, let's say they're all kind of on the ground as currently, because they were
Okay.
menacing people on the ground.
Okay. Well, then, in that case, Flounce is going to boogie on over.
Mm-hmm.
And see what she can do with a sword attack.
Okay.
Cast sword.
And that is a 16 to hit
16 hits.
with 4 slashing damage. Actually, that looks like a 1. It should have been re-rolled.
That's with a longsword, not it's.
Yeah. No, it is a longsword damage.
Well, but great weapon. Longsword is not a great weapon.
It is when it's two-handed.
Okay. I'm not sure that's true.
Features and traits. Let's see. With melee weapons wielded with 2 hands.
But the intended effect there is that it's a big, heavy weapon that requires 2 hands, not a weapon that's versatile and can be used with 2 hands.
Okay, whatever. Okay. So in that case, that's 4, but I can hit him again.
Okay. Well, first of all, what you realize is that your longsword hits it and goes clank, and you seem to chip it more than cut it. So it takes some damage, but not as much as you expected.
Okay. So, y'all, normal attacks, not great. she'll call back, but I'm still going to attack you again with it, and
Right.
that is a 15 to
hits.
hit.
Yeah.
15 to hit,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be 6 slashing damage.
Okay. You knock another couple of chips off of it.
Yeah. Or is it? Yeah, it is slashing damage.
Yep.
And then bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do bonus action? No, I don't think I can. Anyway, I'll just stay there.
Okay. Dianok.
Okay. Dianok is going to just kind of get closer to Canthan and cast Mage Armor.
Okay. On
And-
Dianok, not Canthan.
Yeah, on myself, yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically just getting within the protection of Canthan's.
Well, let's see
big
how long
weapon.
Canthan is planning to stand there. Canthan, it's your turn.
As a matter of fact, I'm planning on standing there for a moment
Oh,
because
okay.
I do want to protect Dianok and Xenophon.
Mhm.
So I just kind of pull out my halberd and give it a spin and take up a martial pose. I am not taking an action. Wait, as a matter of fact, actually, I am going to no.
Okay.
While I'm holding the halberd in my left hand, um, let's see, how far away am I? I'm a little out of range for that. All right. Yeah, I'm going to take the dodge action.
Okay. All right. Well, it is now the monster's turn. They're gargoyles, you can see on here, but that's like I. So to be clear, they are using the gargoyle stat block. They are what I described to you, right? So I think this one is going to swoop in, and I think it looks like um, it's planning to buzz by Canthan and Dianok to go for Xenothon, but I know you're a polearm master.
Yep. So I get a swat at it before it
Yeah.
gets to them.
Mm-hmm.
So let me roll that and see if I hit. Got a 19.
Yep, that hits.
Okay, that's 7 points of damage, and because of my Sentinel feat, its speed is reduced to 0.
All right, yeah, which means it clunks down to the ground and whirls on you to snarl. And in fact, because it landed more than 5 feet away from you, it can't actually move any closer to you to attack you.
Oh,
So, lucky you. Lucky Xenophon too, for that matter.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
but also, you know, you're welcome as the DM because I knew about that. But the gargoyle wouldn't. So, Exel, this one is not stopped by Canthan's polearm master feat, and it's going to come in and attack you. First, it's going to try to claw at you with its claws. It gets a 14 to hit. I don't think hits with you have
Does
a
not.
breastplate. And then it tries to bite you and only gets an 8.
Nope, does not hit.
And then it's going to fly away. What? Hang on, let me double check its speed. Yeah, 60 feet flying. So, it's going to fly 30 feet up in the air. You can try to make an opportunity attack if you have one handy.
No, I'm gonna save it.
All right. So this one's currently 30 feet in the air. The third one is attacking Flounce. Claws, 12 to hit.
Nope.
Bite, 9 to hit. Those are
Nope.
some bad rolls so far. But there we have
Yay.
it. I think it's going to try to get away too, though. It's gonna fly up in the air as well,
Okay.
and try to go for an easier target, but you can still whack at it on its way.
Natural 20.
Okay, well that'll do.
Nice.
That'll hit, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that was 12. Do I roll it just roll it twice?
Well, you don't add the +3 twice. You roll
Okay.
one additional d10.
Okay. So let me just roll that d10.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no. I'm just going to do it here because it is
Okay.
more specific. So 4. So that would be 16.
Yep. All right.
16 damage.
It still only seems to take 8 of that, but that's still pretty good. It snarls, but it does seem like you're too tough. It wants easier prey, so it's flying up in the air. It's also 30 feet in the air right here.
Okay.
Okay. That makes it your turn again, Exel.
All right. Let's see. Two types of nuclear option. And I will.
Let's try to be quicker on some of these things.
But yeah, I will use Toll the Dead
Okay.
on the one that I hit before. It has to make a DC
Yeah, wisdom.
14 wisdom.
Yeah. Okay, it got a 12, so it fails. And it has been hurt, so.
And then it takes 2d12. Ooh.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. one of the nicer cantrips, yeah. Wow.
Wow, there you
Ho-
go.
Holy
go.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Close to
That-
maximum damage, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't take half of that either. I mean, or rather, it takes the whole thing, not just half.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is your Toll the Dead like? I mean, classically we imagine like a church bell, but what's yours like?
You see, if you're close enough, you see a small flare of like purple and green eldritch light, and then he says something into his hands, almost like he's whispering it, and then there's a loud tolling sound that sounds like a wail, almost like
Oh.
someone. It's very eerie. Like it is not a happy sound.
Yeah.
And with all the mist and the fact that these are weird things coming out of it, it just adds to the atmosphere.
Yes, it screeches and thrashes around and starts to fall out of the sky before it catches itself. You heard it pretty bad with that. All right. Xenophon, your turn.
Okay, so what you all see is you see Xenophon turn towards this gargoyle that's coming here, points at it. You don't hear anything, but it hears me whispering words in a very disjointed sort of language and melody, which is designed to give it terrible pain. I am casting dissonant whispers on it and needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, and so your previous one that gave it a minus D4,
That's over because it has
it's until the start of your turn.
right, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's my turn, sort of the end of its turn. Its next attack roll makes before the end of its next turn. So yeah, so that's
okay.
gone.
It didn't get to attack, so
Right. So
but wisdom save.
wisdom save.
A 10.
Okay, so it fails. So
Yeah.
it takes lousy 5 points of damage, but it must take its reaction to move as far away as its speed allows away from me.
Okay. So question, Canthan, you haven't had your turn again, so I don't think you have your reaction. I think.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So you can't stop it. It flees 60 feet away, and as far as the rest of you can tell, it disappears into the mist.
Missed.
Let's see.
I mean, away is better than
Yeah, it'll be
Or-
back though. And you took away the target that I could easily attack.
Well,
I'm just trying to keep them from killing
Well,
me.
the other thing is, though, that it wasn't close enough to attack anybody, and it just used its full speed, so it's going to have to
Yeah.
use its full speed to come back, and yeah.
Mhm.
But
And
in
then
any
I'm going to
case,
then I'm going to move to here to be in the penumbra of Canthan. So Can's polearm.
all right.
That's the same spot.
Yeah. So,
Well, relatively safe. Anyway.
so Flounce, it's your turn.
Okay, so I'm going to cast Giant Smite.
Okay.
Let me go mark that off.
Hmm.
And going to go bounce 1, 2, and with my glaive,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to slash at it.
Well, it is 30
It's-
feet in the air.
yeah,
it
it's
is
up
30
in the
feet.
air.
Now, that said, I will allow you to jump and attack it, because you can
Okay.
jump high, but it will only be one attack, not multi-attack.
Okay. I will take the I have to take my 2 attacks, 1 to jump and then 1 to actually slash at it.
Well, I was thinking of it more along the lines of you don't have time in the air to do 2 attacks, but
Right.
Yeah. So theoretically,
That's
you
fine.
would have your other attack on the ground, but only 1 in the air.
Yeah.
All right. But go ahead and make your attack.
Okay. And that is a 15 to hit.
15 just hits.
All right. And that is a 6.
Okay. So once again, it just clunks in there. This is clearly not natural flesh that these things have. It seems
Yeah.
resistant to that, but you're getting a little bit at a time, though.
Oh, wait a minute. I've got my extra.
Oh, yeah,
my extra
roll it,
D6.
your- Oh,
Yeah, your giant smite
From
damage.
Giant Smite, yeah.
well, is it an extra D6 for? Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so that would be
An extra 1.
yeah. Well,
Hey.
hey, every little bit
Ev-
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a specialist in carving stuff. I'm just taking a little off the top, a little off the
Mm-hmm.
sides,
Giving it a nice
fluff it up a
line.
little bit. Yeah.
A little
light
out of the middle.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dianok, your turn.
Okay. Gonna go ahead and toss some acid up at the gargoyle, menacing, or gargoyle that Flounce was menacing.
Okay.
That's a dex save on its part.
All right. What? So your
DC 15,
what's the range on that one?
60.
Okay, yeah, you're good then. Dex save. 14.
Okay, it takes 7 acid damage.
All right. It squeals and snarls in anger, and it is that one of the ones that does more damage
No.
in next turn. Okay, just the one.
That's just a cantrip.
Okay.
Spell.
All
And
right.
I'm moving this way.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Canthan, you're up.
I wish
They all could be California girls.
well, that's true, but also I wish Jason's character had moved a little closer so I could protect him too. But I'm in a good position now. And while it's probably going to be a disadvantage, I'm going to huck a hand axe at the one that's on the left there.
It's still within 30 feet because of fantasy math.
Right, but a hand axe has a 20 feet.
Oh
20
yeah,
foot,
well that would be a disadvantage then. Yeah.
Only
Okay.
11.
11. So
Flying
your-
bounces off.
your hand axe disappears into the mist.
Okay.
You hear it clank against the cobblestones at some distance away.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on your turn? That's it?
That's it for my turn.
Okay. Well then, this one I think is going to swoop down and attack Exel again. Claws. Dirty 20 to hit
That hits.
for 6 slashing damage. And then bite, but only a 12 to hit for the bite.
Axel, come over here.
And then the this other one here is going to swoop down and I think this one too is actually going to fly up again. Over here. Back 30 feet into the air. So once again, if you have an opportunity attack, you can make it. But if you don't have them ready, it's definitely going to take advantage of that.
No, yeah, that's fine.
All right. So this one is going to try to attack Flounce again. Claws, 22 to hit for 8
That hits.
slashing damage.
All right.
And then bite, 9 to hit.
Nope.
Yeah. And then it is also going to try to fly up away. So once again, you
Okay.
can make opportunity attack.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a 15 to hit
Hits.
for 11 points of damage.
Wow. Okay. Doesn't like that, but then if it stayed, you'd hit it twice.
Did you roll your giant smite damage?
I don't think I get that for.
It's once per turn, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, no, it's. Let me double check. On each of your turns, one of your attacks with a weapon or an unarmored
okay.
strike
On
can
your
deal an
turn.
extra 1d6.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
but you still hit it though on its turn, so that's useful. All right, the other one that had to run away is on its way back, and then I think it's going to have to dash to try to get to get back within range, but it's trying to swirl around. And it comes in this way. So once it gets to here,
Yeah.
you can do your sentinel or your polearm master attack rather.
Yep, and it's a 14, which I don't think hits.
It does not.
Okay.
And so it's not able to attack this turn, Xenophon, but it has come. Actually, you know what? That makes no sense for it to do that because it can swoop in on its next turn. So I think what it actually does is it hovers right up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it. Well, why would it put itself in range when it can't even attack? It wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah. So they are all currently up in the air at the moment. But Exel, it's your turn again.
Alrighty, and I will Eldritch Blast this one, the one that I told the dead last time.
All right.
25,
Hits, yeah.
and let's see how much damage it does. So I know if I want to hit it a second time.
Was
Oh, 5 points.
well, I mean, each one is going to be a 1d10, right? Or
Yeah.
you might have a bonus to it. I don't remember. But yeah, it seems to take all of the force damage. Yeah.
One more Eldritch Blast. Oh, that's an 11. That did
11.
it.
Yeah, that one just vanishes into the mist.
And that will. Well, he called me, so I will move next to. Kanban.
This mist, incidentally, does seem to have, like in addition to it just being unnatural in the sense that mist doesn't behave this way, there is just a feeling of sort of cold menace to the feeling of it. It just like it, in addition to just the fact that you can't see through it, it just feels hostile. It feels angry. It kind of gives you, the whatever your body's equivalent of goosebumps would be. All right. So that was Exel's turn. Xenophon.
Yep. Okay. First, I will give Canthan Bardic Inspiration.
Okay.
Canthan can, with your Pole Armstrong, smash these gargoyles all day long.
You do the Canthan can.
I did to the Canthan. I did.
All right.
Okay, so then I will move to here, and then I will look at this one, and I will vicious mockery this one too. Flying gargoyle from this evil dread mist, my couplets undoubtedly make you pissed.
Well, we'll see. Yes,
Well,
they do. It gets an 8.
Okay, so it takes 6 points of psychic damage
All
and
right.
disadvantage on its next attack roll. That is Xenophon.
Okay. Flounce.
All right, we're going to run and jump and hit this thing with a glaive, and I'm going to try and position myself so that I am between it and Exel.
What I would also allow you to do when you jump and do your one attack is to try to grapple it, and if you succeed, you'll pull it down to the ground.
Do a Hulk, wham, wham, wham.
Puny
Music.
gargoyle.
So up to you. So you can jump and do the one attack, or you can jump and try and risk a grapple. But if you succeed with the grapple, you'll pull it down to the ground, and then you can make your second attack. And then it'll be on the
Okay.
ground at least until its turn.
Okay, yeah, let's try that.
Okay. So go ahead and you make your athletics check. I don't remember if that's with advantage or not when you're big.
I don't think advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws.
Yeah. So yes.
Athletics is a strength check.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you also have bardic inspiration. Don't forget.
All right. So that was a.
Kana?
You made Arcana checks.
I did.
That's what it
Yeah.
says.
I thought it was athletic. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Okay. It got an 18 on its check. So unfortunately, it's
nice.
able to wrest itself from your grip.
Okay.
But
All right. Yeah. All right.
so
Well-
unfortunately, it's pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Mhm.
It's fine. I'm gonna save my bardic inspiration for next time.
Okay. I mean, if you did your bardic inspiration on it now, it would succeed
Hey,
because
you
it got an
get-
18, you got a 17. If you used your bardic
Yeah.
inspiration, you would work. I mean,
Yeah.
you can save it if you want. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, let's go ahead and use it.
Okay. Okay, you are using it. All right.
Yep. And it's a good thing I only needed a 1.
Because that's what you got. So.
and my bardic inspiration is D8 now.
Okay, well there you go. But yeah, so you grab it and you drag it back down to the ground with you.
Okay.
How does Xenophon's bardic inspiration help you?
Yeah, how
Does
do
it
I
just
Uh,
give you that? You like, I know I could do it.
Yeah, I believe I can fly.
I believe it can die.
She jumps up there, grabs it with one hand, comes down with her tongue out.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm just in my mind. It's just the Space Jam scene.
All right. Cool. So yeah, you dragged it back down, so you can use your second attack on it now if you
All
like.
right. So, glaive. Another natural 20.
Nice. There you go.
Smash,
All
smash,
right.
smash.
So that was 13.
Mhm.
And you can use
Plus
your giant sword.
another D10.
Mhm. Plus D6.
The plus D6 plus 4. So 18 total.
Yeah. All right.
So 9, but
Well, yeah, but you've been making some progress on it. It's definitely like, it's got like various tears and gouges out of it that aren't bleeding, but look like wounds. You've disrupted its form. All right, Dianok, your turn.
Okay. Acid seemed to work pretty well last time, so I'm gonna toss it at that one. So
Okay.
dex save.
All right. Dex. Got a natural 20.
Okay. So try and toss it, and it's just this much off the mark, and the gargoyle just avoids a splash.
You hear something in the distant mist sizzling.
Ooh, I hope that wasn't anything
can't
valuable.
Dex.
Oh, you have to pay for that.
Yeah. All right. Kenthan.
Yeah. I'm loath to keep throwing my weapons when it's
Well,
that,
the one that Flounce just dragged down to the ground, you could run up and attack.
oh,
that
that's
one.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 15 feet of movement to go up here.
Mhm.
I'm going to use a bonus action to use fighting spirit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We lost you a little bit. You're frozen on us.
No.
First one is a 14.
Okay. 14 does not hit.
Yeah. Second one's a 22.
22 hits.
So that's 9 damage with that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to use 15 feet of movement to come back.
So okay. So yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Never mind. You're all good. That worked. Okay. You froze up on us just for a little bit, so we just want to make sure I understood everything, but I think we're good.
Yep.
Okay. So it is the gargoyles now. This one that you dragged down, Flounce, technically, I think you did release the grapple to do your follow-up attack, but that's
Yes.
okay because it's just going to go ahead and try to continue attacking you.
That's fine.
Claws 15 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, for 3 slashing damage. And then bite 22 to hit for 8 piercing damage.
Okay. Note to self, you guys, when we get back, or when we get done with this, I'm switching this breastplate out for my chainmail again because stealth is not worth the lower armor.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to put up with the jingling.
Jingle jangle.
Yeah. Okay. And then this one is like it is. I think it's figured out your range. So at the very least, it's trying to come around and get to where if you hit it and it gets slapped out of the air, it's gonna fall
Right.
where it can still attack.
But
So,
I still get my attack.
yep.
20 to hit,
hits.
11 damage.
All right. And so it kind of drops out of the sky, but then it's also right there by
By the squishy bar.
yeah, and I think it is going to attack you, Xenophon.
I have been annoying it and hurting it. So,
yeah,
yeah.
it's got disadvantage on the first attack, which is the claws, which is an 11.
That misses.
Yeah, and then it tries to bite, gets a 14.
Okay, that would hit me, but before it actually hits me, I'm going to use
Shield.
I'm going to use a shield.
All right.
And the invisible
Yay.
barrier pops up, and the
Ah,
bite does not go
The,
through.
the toothy jaw is gnawing on your arcane shield.
I am not for eating.
Okay, and then this one up here is going to swoop down on Exel.
and I don't get another one of those.
Nope.
So,
9 for the claws, that'll miss. Dirty 20 for the bite, and that's going to be 8 piercing. And then it has learned that it can get away with flying back up out of the way, attacking you, Axel. You're muted. We don't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was just talking to myself because I was saying I don't have my crossbow out.
Okay.
Would that actually be in range for my opportunity attack?
Oh, you did have the
With the
glaive
glaive.
out, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you are
Wow.
bigger, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yes. Well, it's not because she's bigger, it's because she's got the glaive out, which has reach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a swipe at it, and that's a 15. to
15
hit
hits.
yeah.
for 11 points of damage.
Nice.
Yeah, so watch out for Big Bunny.
Yeah.
Big bunny.
All right.
Pole arms, pole arms, pole arms, man.
Yeah. Axel, your turn.
Alrighty.
Well, Flounce's whole thing is that she can only use it when she's big, though.
Yeah.
And we'll do another Eldritch Blast on that one.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Nice.
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 Ooh.
That is 2d10
Mhm.
plus.
Fine.
So it's only 10 points.
Well, but it takes all of that, so it's looking very bad.
And it'll take a
Hit him again.
I'm going to try to hit him again.
Yeah.
Wow!
Dude!
Wow!
What it was you in criticals?
Yeah. I remember another time you rolled 2 criticals in one turn.
Yeah.
I think blowing this gargoyle out of the sky isn't quite as impressive as killing a demi-lich in one turn, but
Still.
but you're not as high a level, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts to break up and shatter into pieces, but the pieces as they start to fall just dissipate into mist.
Oh.
You don't hear anything hit the ground, but it's gone.
Christiana, just to point out,
Mhm.
the token you just deleted had to turn on the.
It's fine. Well, thank you for telling me. It's okay though, because I know they were at the end of the initiative. But thank you. All right. So that was Exel's
That's my
turn.
Yep.
Xenophon.
Okay, I'm going to take an action to disengage from this gargoyle and
Yeah.
move to here, getting, yeah, hopefully by the time it moves, the Canthan will be able to ward against it. So,
Mhm.
so I'm basically playing dodge, revolution. Okay,
All right.
I have two more bardic inspirations. Does anybody want one?
Well, we don't know if this is the last encounter we did,
Oh,
so
yeah, of the day.
Save
That's
it.
Mm.
okay.
Like,
So
no,
I will
it's
say.
just the gargoyles. That's it.
Okay,
solved the mystery.
I will save it for the moment.
yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Flounce.
All right. This thing is back in the air, right?
No, this one is the one that you dragged down, and it's not grappled anymore, but it decided to just keep attacking you.
Okay. So it isn't. So it isn't flying.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to hit it twice with my glaive
Mhm.
and see what happens.
Good luck.
And the first one was an 11, so that one didn't do anything.
It matrix dodges.
Yeah, the second one is a 22.
It shouldn't have matrix dodged because then it was in an awkward position for the second follow.
So I've got 8 and then an extra d6 for 4, so that's 12 total, so 6.
Okay, it's in really rough shape, but it's not out of commission.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to do action surge
All right.
and do it again. All right, so that's a dirty 20 to
Hits.
hit
Yep.
for. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's 1d10 plus 3, so that should be 4.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
All right, so
And
it
then,
only takes half of that, so
Yeah.
still not quite down.
all right, and then that's 16 to hit.
Hits.
Come on.
There you
for
go.
9.
You smash it into pieces, but just like the other one, as it starts to crumble, it just the pieces just sort of evaporate into mist.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least I'm not walking on previously animated cobbles.
True.
All right, so Dianok, it is your turn.
Yeah. Why mess with a good thing? I'm gonna acid that one.
Okay. Is it that's arranged and it's right there in your face? So I think. Well,
Well,
a
it's-
dex.
it's
a
not-
Dex, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's a dex save. So, it fails.
10 damage,
All right.
and I am I am ready to be defensive.
There, beauty. There, Grace. Have some acid in your face. All right. That makes it Canthan's turn.
Okay, I'm going to step to the side of Dianok here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to take a couple of whacks with this halberd.
All right.
13, that's not going to hit.
No,
21 will, though.
sure will.
6 damage for that.
Okay.
And as a bonus action, I'm going to whack it with the butt of my halberd.
All right.
And it didn't roll that. All right. 14.
Use your bardic
Bardic.
inspiration.
Already
Oh, yeah, I'll
considered.
use that. I'll use the Ballard
Mhm.
Inspiration. So,
58.
D8 now. Yep.
not that it matters, Fifth, because, okay, 19 will be enough.
Yep.
But that's not a lot of damage, but hey, what the hell.
Chip at it.
Does work.
I like halberd butts, and I cannot lie.
I've
So
got the
6
TM
points for that.
rhyming. Oh God.
Okay.
I'm gonna die.
All right, that one's looking pretty rough now too.
Christiana,
Mhm.
does forced movement trigger reactions?
No,
No.
Okay.
that's been ruled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you could push them with Eldritch Blast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can. I just haven't been doing it because they fly. So
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Not a whole point. Not a point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah.
All right.
Real
so,
good when there's like pits and things you
yeah,
can knock.
that
things
was
into.
Canthan's turn. I think right now it seems like it's just in frenzy mode, and so it's gonna attack Dianok, who's right there, and just threw acid in his face. in her face or its face, whatever,
Their face.
one of those faces.
Yep.
The animated
It gets a crit
no.
with the claws, but so that's still only 8 slashing damage.
Okay. And I actually forgot to calculate the arcane ward, but I'm sure it'll come out of that.
Mhm. In any case, the do make sure you're keeping track of that. And then it misses with the bite.
Okay.
All right, and I think it is actually going to try to fly away. And I believe you used your reaction this round, or no, you just had your turn though.
Just had my
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
bonus action.
15 to hit,
15 just hits. Yeah.
9 damage.
All right. It's not destroyed yet, but it's getting close.
And it can't move, couldn't move away.
Yeah. All right. And that is Axel's turn.
Yep, we're gonna keep it simple. Eldritch Blast.
Mm-hmm.
19
Hits.
and a 9.
You
So
blast
yeah,
it
just-
apart. And it, what?
Oh, that was. Oh, I hadn't rolled the damage. That was just for the second blast.
Oh, well, okay, roll the damage then.
Oh,
It,
come on. 8.
well, it is enough anyway, so it had 8 hit points. All right, so you have destroyed these strange, inhuman, fierce-looking, flying
Spirit creatures.
clawed women's. Yeah, and so I think you're still kind of standing around, just making sure there's not any more, creatures menacing people, and people are still sort of like hiding and sort of trying to figure out what's going on. And then about a minute after the gargoyles appeared, the mist suddenly starts to fade, like it just sort of disappears. It just kind of evaporates off over the space of about 25 seconds or so, that specific number. And as the fog fades, you're certainly seeing now, revealed in their various hiding places, the guards and other locals menaced by these gargoyles look kind of confused, like, what was that all about? But then when the mist is gone, they all kind of just start going about what they were doing before.
That is very unusual behavior, friends.
Yes.
Well, from what you described about the
Yeah.
way people live here, it doesn't sound out of character.
No. It's
But-
like, yeah, they don't talk about things that embarrass others. It's not good.
You don't talk about.
We don't talk about Bruno or anybody else that's in
Yeah.
trouble either.
Well, yeah, so everyone seems to be just kind of literally just resuming their previous business.
Well, shall we try and find that magister?
The magistrate, yes. I think that still remains our plan because we need more context about what's going on.
Yes.
All right, so are you, like, how are you, you're just kind of looking around to see if you see them? You're not?
Well,
So what else, are you doing anything else?
I would ask the guards.
Okay,
yeah.
what do you ask them?
I would ask them if they know where or if they've seen the magistrate.
Kanajun,
Magistrate Konajun.
They say, I don't know that specific one, but I see someone in a magistrate's uniform on the far side of the square over there. And
We'll head over there.
yeah.
and you do in fact see someone over there. I'm giving you a handout now for Kun An Jun,
Ah,
Mhm.
and it is this fancy looking fellow.
I like his hat.
very, very distinctive hat with the feather.
as you get a little closer to this person, though, he looks kind of like worried, like very concerned, and he kind of sees you kind of approaching him, and he just walks right up and says, an official wearing a red and blue outfit embroidered with Phoenix designs approaches. I apologize for my impertinence, they say, but I have an odd question I have to ask. Have you just suffered an unusual occurrence?
Yes,
Yes,
we, yes, we have.
There was a fog and there was a bunch of spirit lady things attacked us.
Oh, thank goodness. Are you the shield bearers?
Yes.
Yes, I recognize the.
Tap the cloak.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very glad you're here. As you just saw, that was not.
that was
Okay.
not natural.
Not only that, so here's my problem. Beyond the idea that mists keep appearing and monsters attack people in them, every other person can't. I don't know if they. Allow me to demonstrate. And he just looks over at a woman who's passing by, just coming from the gate, and he just says, ma'am, if I may ask you, what did you think of the mist that we saw just a moment ago? And she says, what? And she looks up at the now clear sky and just says, what are you talking about? It's a clear day.
Would I make an insight check to see if she is being untruthful or if she really doesn't remember?
Yeah, go ahead and make an insight check.
15.
She seems genuinely confused by the question.
Oh.
And the magistrate looks at you and says, huh? Allow me again to demonstrate. And he goes over to the guards by the gate and says, guard, has there been anything to report in the last few minutes? And they said, well, there's a bunch of people who looked like they came from the Radiant Citadel and they were asking for you. Nothing else of note? No, sir, it's been pretty quiet. And he looks back over at you. Huh?
Well, that is definitely that is
He's like,
definitely
see,
something
I'm not
of note.
crazy. He's like, see,
No.
I'm not crazy.
No, you're
Yeah.
not crazy.
I wonder if seeing Flounce grow and then subsequently seeing her shrink back after the battle's over was covered in that notice me not field.
Well, I mean, it would, I think it only lasts a minute, right?
Yeah,
Well, it would have faded before the fog did anyway.
yeah.
But,
They wouldn't have noticed.
well,
Okay.
I mean, it would, yeah, you would have shrunk back down again before the fog faded anyway. But he says, so, yes, that's what I've been dealing with, and it's why I contacted you, and I am so relieved that you see it too. It's why I knew I needed to get someone from outside the city. No one else that I've talked to in the city ever seems to remember anything. Even people who are attacked and injured by the monsters. Once the mist fades, they seem to think something else happened. They'll be confused by it, but they'll assume, oh, I must have fallen despite having claw marks on their arm. It's very strange. And it used to only happen every now and then, but it has been growing more frequent, and nobody believes me, and I was entertaining some level of concern that I was simply insane, but people are actually being hurt, and people have been killed, and every time when the mist clears, people are shocked if there's an injured or a killed person, but they seem to think that something else happened to them. Some strange accident. They never remember the mist or the monsters.
That is extremely concerning. We will
Yes.
definitely help you out with that.
Yes.
We
Thank you.
believe you, and we are here to help.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, all of you stand together and point. We are ready to believe you. Yeah. And I think that that's probably an excellent place for us to end our adventure for tonight. And we will have to return to the land of Unito to find out what's going on with this strange mist when we return for more adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.
Yay!